I got wounds in my palms.
Have you watched?
I got wounds in my palms and they won't go.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by CinemaSins.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from CinemaSins, joined as always by the voice of CinemaSins, Jeremy Scott.
That's me, Yowza.
And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Scher.
I like the Yowza because, so like at the end of all the old like Guns N' Roses stuff, there would always be this interplay between Slash, Axl, and Duff, and the Matt Sorum. It wasn't Matt Sorum. It was Steven Adler, the drummer. And there would be who would have the last note, and it would be like Axl would be holding out the note and he'd be like, and then he'd be like, everybody would quiet down. And he'd be like, Yowza,
Yeah.
or like, and then like at the end of that, even when he does Yowza, you hear Slash go down, 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 and then every once in a while you hear Steven Adler go, but it's usually Axl winning the fight. Everybody's just like, fuck it, he's gonna do it.
We're going to go back on our road trip today.
Road trip.
Shotgun.
On the road again.
The most time-honored tradition of all, the road trip.
Oh, the places you'll go.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
And we're going to go to the land of Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Mm.
I like Pennsylvania.
I've been there.
Yeah, have you been to like Philadelphia?
I've been to Philadelphia. I've been to Pittsburgh, and other places. And in the Hershey.
Yeah,
Been there.
in the Hershey.
That was all before I was 12. I don't remember it very well.
Philly's a cool place, man. Philly's a very cool place. Very good eating town. They have this Reading market where you just walk through and you can get all kinds of, like, you can get a cheesesteak, or you can get that roast pork sandwich. That's so good.
I have only driven through Pennsylvania. I've never stayed there. So I don't know.
That's nice.
Other than driving down their roads, I don't know anything about it. We're going to go into Pennsylvania. We're going to start off with a little bit of the M. Nights.
Yeah.
Because M. Night's probably the one, aside from Rocky, you probably think of M. Night movies. Obviously, The Sixth Sense is front and center on that one. And it's one, it and Unbreakable both make Philadelphia a big character setting to the movies and everything. Everything else is kind of either out in the country or whatever. But obviously, The Sixth Sense is one of our best movies that we've had in 20, 25 years.
How many times do you think you've watched The Sixth Sense?
Oh, probably 20.
And okay, because it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I did watch it when it first came out, probably about, around 10 times or anything, and I enjoyed it. Knowing the twist has no real factor in your enjoyment of the movie, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I in fact, Jeremy and I both have on this podcast talked about how it was ruined for us before we got in.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, fucking Usher, man. I will never forget that Usher coming out of the fucking movie.
That's crazy, man.
And just going, oh, it's not over yet. We're just finding out he's dead. And I'm like, you motherfucker. I think I said that right. I mean, immediately.
You didn't find out together, right? You found out separately.
No. In fact, I was told by a manager, and she didn't tell me he's dead. She said, see if you can guess the twist, which if you know my personality at all, you just ruined the movie for me. And she still works for Regal. She works at the Regal near my home.
Oh, really?
Like, I saw her yesterday when I went to see Bumblebee.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to her because I'm still holding a grudge.
Yeah.
20 years later.
But yeah, even knowing that, I enjoyed it, and it still has a resonate. It still resonates when you watch it too. I mean, even when you know what's about to happen, the realization of the characters on screen and Bruce Willis on screen is still enough to give you chills when it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen this movie enough that you put it anywhere in the movie or whatever, I can start reciting dialogue and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So that's one of the type of movie it is. And Sixth Sense is great. Unbreakable is great. Unbreakable's finally getting that recognition after Split. Just think if Split wasn't a big hit, though. I mean, we would still be mired in that if he would ever come out with a sequel to Unbreakable or whatever. type of thing.
I think I got an argument for you.
Yeah.
I think Split was a hit because of that last scene. I think it did good opening weekend, and everyone who likes Unbreakable started talking about it.
Maybe.
And it drove it to enough success.
The only problem is that Unbreakable is sort of almost still a cult following because it made like $100 million when it came out domestically. I don't think I've heard very many people talk about this movie over the years, except you and me. And so I felt, and even when it was like, I don't know, 6-7 years later when they were asking M. Night about making a sequel, he's like, I'm just not feeling the love for that movie. And I don't think I'll ever be able to come out with a sequel to it. So really the only way he was able to do it was to kind of come out with something that wasn't really related to it and then tied it in at the end. The audience I saw Split with, there's no way those kids knew what Unbreakable was.
Interesting.
I feel like that ending was befuddling to a lot of people because they didn't know what that was at all. And Split just came out during a January where there's nothing else going on, and it was just scary enough that, that people came out and saw it and everything. And I'm sure a lot of people were like, I don't know what that was going on in the ending there, but Bruce Willis shows up. I don't know.
Oh my God. Speaking of Split, that girl from Edge of 17, did you see the trailer for her?
Oh yeah. Haley Lou Richardson.
Fault in my immune system. Cystic fibrosis movie or whatever.
Barrett turned to me and said, Fault in Our Stars too when he saw it. Yeah.
I like yours better. I like that girl. This was a misstep but I guess when you're that age and you're an actress, you kind of see this piece that can be all about you and you get to do some acting, and I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah, that trailer did not move me at all. 5 feet rule. Or 5 feet back. Yeah. 5 feet. What's the name of it? 5 feet away?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't even remember what the title of.
It's a dumb title.
Yeah.
You should have called it Cystic Fibrosis.
yeah. But no. So then Unbreakable. Unbreakable is another great movie. And this is where we thought M. Night Shyamalan was just going to be able to do no wrong after these two movies. Yep. Unbreakable is great. Unbreakable is one of those that, it doesn't feel like it's going to have a big whammy ending to it or anything. We don't know M. Night for this yet, except for the one movie.
Yeah.
And then it has a big whammy ending. And this is what M. Night is known for is this. After that, everything's sort of like expect a twist in the movie.
Yes. He also began to feel like he could do no wrong.
Right. and he would go on to do Signs, which is also on this list. And I guess it's in like Pennsylvania country. And everything. I didn't know they grew corn up in Pennsylvania.
They do?
Well, they must. I think they grow corn in a lot of places. I mean, growing up in Indiana, I'm going to talk about Indiana all podcast long. It was billed to me as sort of like an Indiana thing. And then I got older and I was like, oh, they grow it in Oklahoma. They grow it out in Iowa. And they got corn everywhere.
They do?
I don't fucking know.
But I think if Unbreakable had come out during the comic book boom, might have been a different thing. It didn't come out in the mid 2000s rather than just 2000, because this came out just right before it blew up.
Yeah, and this was, I think, one of the reasons you and I and everybody who loved it at the time that saw it took to it so much was it was really the first time a superhero story had been treated with realism. What if we didn't make like this was fantastical?
Yeah.
What if we acted like this was real? And now you see that kind of thing happening all over the place, and a lot of the credit goes to Unbreakable.
Yeah.
We do have Glass coming up, right?
Yeah, Glass is coming out in January.
That's the third one after Unbreakable and Split. I have complained on this podcast about the Glass trailer, but I did just read 2 days ago, M. Night came out and said the movie is not what that trailer is selling you.
It just didn't seem like that would be the case. It's the same thing with Split, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Split looked, to me, I railed against it as soon as it came out because of the whole angle of multiple personalities. Now, it's almost even worse to me having seen it because it doubles down on that.
It sure does.
But the trailer did not show us the extent to which that story was going to go.
Right.
And I figured the same thing was going to be for Glass. And I hope so, because it does look compelling already, but I bet there's a million different ways he could go with it. He could fuck it up.
Do you think Sarah Paulson's bad?
Oh, yes.
I think she's bad.
And also in the movie, I think she is.
No. Oh. yeah, exactly. Because have you seen that shit Bird Box? She's horrible.
Have you seen that shit?
Yeah,
Bird Box?
I have.
Is it a bad movie?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it deserves the ridiculous hype that it got, but it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I think her character's bad because there's another thing about the trailer, if you pick up on it, is him saying, "You're not going to shake my hand and let me go." As we all know, when he shakes people's hands, he finds shit out about people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why I keep thinking that she's bad.
I had not considered that, but now that you said that, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I also think the girl from Split is not to be trusted.
Oh, yeah?
Even though she was pure protagonist victim in Split, I honestly feel like in this world, David is going to be the only pure protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else has got murky
murky
motivations.
It is nice to see this universe kind of grow a little bit. I didn't like Split for what it was, but I did like the return to form in terms of the storytelling that Ed and I could get back to, which felt very Unbreakable-y. And Unbreakable is my favorite of his, I think, by far. Mm-hmm. Even though I like The Sixth Sense a lot, I think I've just seen Unbreakable more often, and I know it's been kind of derided, but I love what he does with colors, especially in Unbreakable, because it's so vivid, and you can see it in this Glass trailer too.
Even on through The Village, which for me was the end. I like Signs more than you do. More than I think the general public liked Signs okay.
Yeah.
And The Village is generally where everybody started dropping off.
Yeah, Signs was a big hit. Signs was bigger than Unbreakable was.
But even all that red and yellow shit in The Village I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm a sucker for that.
I don't know
stuff.
that he's ever lost his visual touch. It's just the storytelling and the characters, and I think he got a little wrapped up in the whammies. I'm always concerned when a director has to put themselves in every single movie.
Yeah.
Even Hitchcock doing it is a little self-serving, but to do it in a post-Hitchcock era says a lot about what you think about yourself.
Right. Yeah.
At least Ron Howard has the decency to put his ugly brother in all his movies instead of himself.
Ugly brother.
But yeah, Signs is where I think, I mean, not for everybody. I mean, everybody went to see Signs. It was another one of these, and it didn't really have a twist per se. It just kind of had
which is weird because you were looking for one.
To something that, tie in to something that happened in the past and everything. But Signs is good. Except the thing about Signs is, and we were talking about how M. Night didn't think he could do any wrong after this. Signs is the one that proves this, because there's so many camera movements in the movie where he's like, look at how awesome I am. I put this camera in the middle of the kitchen table and I just follow whoever's speaking. And I just, look at this. Oh, if that person's speaking. Now I'm not going to cut. I'm going to rotate the camera over here and they're going to talk. So yeah, Signs has its moments for me, and I don't think it's a total failure for me or anything, but it was one where I was like, I don't know about what he's doing there. But then, The Village comes out, and The Village is all about its ending.
Oh, yeah.
The whole movie, I've never seen a movie more set up to have it, like the twist ending was written first, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
it has to have been.
There was no other way that movie was written other than oh, wouldn't it be cool if it was like these like people who you think they're living in the 1700s or something, and it turns out they're living in the modern day.
I got a question about that.
They made a much better Twilight Zone episode.
Well, yeah. Is it a bad ending? It's a bad movie, I think.
Everything is, you have to have something leading up to that ending. And there isn't anything
to me.
Yeah, the whole thing is there might be a monster out there. Don't go past this certain point or whatever. And that's something that they've created a culture in here in this town. So there's nothing in there really that makes it worthwhile getting to that ending.
Yeah.
If there was I don't know that there is something. There's a good movie there.
No, I agree.
It's just
a very cool.
Yeah, the ending is cool, but if they could have done some other things in there where the the stuff that was scaring them wasn't actually stuff that the elders created to scare people. Like maybe it was actually modern things and they just see it a different way or something like that. What if it's like somebody going around fishing around in the woods, or they don't know that there's other people out there. There's other modern people out there.
Right.
So maybe it's a motorcycle. They don't know how to react to a motorcycle. Just stuff like that. If it could have been like stuff like that instead of like, oh, we created this thing to scare you. I think there could have been something there that would have made that ending pop a lot better.
I think if you asked him, he'd probably try and tell you he was trying to make some statement about the government. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Propaganda.
All right. Yeah.
And fear-mongering. Like, I think he would probably try and claim that he had. But I truly believe, like Chris said, he thought of the twist ending and wrote backwards.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying is that may not be a terrible idea, but you got to get your base. You're building your base from the wrong side, right?
Right. Like, I think you can even sell that, like that tribe that just killed that missionary.
Yeah.
There are clearly tribes that are living hundreds of years ago today.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Yeah.
I don't know about airplanes flying overhead, but otherwise you can almost believe that a society could find a rural, hidden enough place to do that. I do like the idea.
Yeah, I mean, even if it were more obviously about like government interference and propaganda and shit like that, and you got that from watching the movie, I'd be on board with that too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the idea about this movie is so interesting to me and so poorly executed until the very end.
You could be talking
that
about
I'm so
many of
by
his
this movie.
movies, though. Like The Lady in the Water, I think, is a really fascinating idea.
That's true. That's true.
Execution-wise, it's nothing but stumble for me.
Yeah.
Well, and Lady in the Water seems to have been made in response to critical drubbings from The Village.
Specifically, The Village, is that the idea?
Yeah, because I think those first three movies, everybody was kind of fine with it. And then The Village came out, and it comes out of it. Well, he says it's because it was some sort of bedtime story he used to tell or was told or something like that. But like the fact that he makes Bob Balaban a critic in there, that is like, and he's just an insufferable fucking critic.
He sure is.
That's the part in there that made me think he made this movie as a fuck you to critics and everything, and
it was,
and he gave,
and the critics said "fuck you back."
Gave critics no other choice but other than to say this movie's terrible.
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah, this is the movie that made the least amount of money, Lady in the Water, out of all the ones. You would think that there was like even The Village made $100 million domestically.
Is that including like After Earth and Airbender?
Yeah, I think After Earth made like 60 or something like that, and this one, Lady in the Water, made $42 million domestically.
Wow.
It's that movie's just too. What is it? It's just bad. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just. Well, again, I'll always come back to that Katie Holmes mini speech in Wonder Boys, where it's like, you always tell us that writing is about making choices, but I don't feel like you made any choices.
Yeah.
That's what Lady in the Water feels like to me. Every idea he had was left in. He didn't trim out any of it.
Yeah.
It ends up feeling just wonky.
Yeah. Big, awesome cast in it. You have Paul Giamatti and you have Bryce Dallas Howard. And, it should have been something better there, but
yeah.
Then The Happening, that Happening was the nail in the coffin for a lot of people.
It was.
So Chris and I were watching this movie. Just we had it on, and it was one of those abilities to where you could fast forward to any point and just stop it and just look at it and see what's happening. And Chris is like, "Look at this. Every time you go to this spot, there's Mark Wahlberg looking confused. You go to this spot, there's Mark Wahlberg looking confused.
Yeah.
You go to this spot, he's looking confused and saying, what? No.
Yeah. You can go, that's the thing. You can go like to any spot in The Happening and something fucking weird has happened with either Mark Wahlberg or something he says. He's like, there's that one point where he's got all the people out in the middle of the country or whatever, and he's like, maybe they're doing something like this and that and the other thing, and maybe they're doing like the thing that he's saying is so like nobody would follow him. Everybody would be, even though they've experienced weird things, they would not believe what he just said.
I was flipping channels with my wife the other day and I saw that Love and Other Drugs was on.
Uh-huh.
And I said, oh, Love and Other Drugs. I wonder if Anne Hathaway's boobs are on screen. And I clicked it. I shit you not. She's ripping her coat open, having just walked into. And my wife was dumbfounded because she, God bless her, forgot that we saw this movie together like 10 years ago. And the one takeaway we both had was she's naked in like every other scene in that movie. And it's really surprising. So that's a game I like to play. Love and Other Drugs?
Yeah.
50-50.
You're doing the.
That's on the list, by the way.
What?
That's a Pennsylvania movie.
Is it really? Yes, it's on the list. Excellent, because I actually watched most of it after I flipped over.
You're doing the PCU thing where the guy's looking like has the paper that he's going to write that anytime on cable there's a Michael Caine or a Gene Hackman movie. And and then he ends it up with a bridge too far. They're both in the same movie. That's my thesis.
The Happening, though,
Happening
man.
is awful.
Yeah.
I mean, and I still don't understand this movie. I don't know how you justify it. I don't know if you do it ironically. I don't know if you have to smoke a lot of drugs to get it. But
The Happening is a sort of an environmental, awareness type of thing. Because the whole thing, Mark Wahlberg is teaching at the beginning, talking about like, nobody knows what happened to the bees, and of course we've since found out that the bees were going out of, we're getting killed because of the pesticides we were using. But back then it was like such a mystery, and they made a whole movie basically on it, environmental disaster, essentially, environment coming back to kill us for our sins, essentially. Then the last Airbender came out. Is that in the Philly? Is that Pennsylvania?
no, that's in like Nepal. Or
I feel like we're talking about M. Night Shyamalan. This is the M. Night Shyamalan episode.
No, the ones listed on there.
They shot that in Reading somewhere, right?
That would be hilarious.
Remember that part when they were eating cheesesteaks?
I do.
In the igloo?
I do. That's such a great scene. Then Devil came out. He wrote this one. Devil's the Elevator movie. Where,
It's good.
Is that elevator in Pennsylvania?
Yes, it is.
All right.
It's in Philadelphia.
Yeah, a bunch of people on an elevator, and one of them might be the devil.
And the therapist from Split seems to be in a lot of his movies. I forget the actress's name, but she was the one.
That's her name, therapist from Split.
Right. She's the lady whose house Mark Wahlberg breaks into or goes into in The Happening.
Oh, interesting.
And that he says, what? No.
It's Betty Buckley.
Betty Buckley, yeah.
Who was in Carrie.
Yeah.
Was the counselor in Carrie. Devil's pretty good. He did not direct this, but it's a really nice, small, contained movie. Doesn't have a lot going on, but it's fun.
And it's I don't think it's a spoiler to say that it's got a very interesting ending.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's necessarily a twist ending because it's a mystery. You really don't know where it's going from the very beginning.
Right.
But it's cool. This one is where, and this was 2010, somewhere around
there, yeah.
Where you started to think, maybe he's got a little of his mojo back,
2010. Then The Visit, which was sort of M. Night's comeback.
Mm-hmm.
He started making smaller movies that didn't have this whole weight to them. So that he could, I don't know, that's a good way of getting back, I think. If he had made The Visit, M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit, then...
Well, it's like Transformers taking it down to Bumblebee and stripping everything down.
I was going to say, didn't we even joke when The Visit came out that they mostly marketed it without his name?
Yeah. In fact, I don't think his name shows up anywhere in the previews. For that movie.
That's what I thought.
Boy, I like this movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's a found footage style movie.
I don't think it needed that
Is this the one
aesthetic.
with the poopy diapers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Well, I mean, it was a very visceral way of
No, I just,
conveying the character.
I'm weird about those kind of movies.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, it's freaky, and it sends you in a lot of different
and it has a good twist too, a really good twist to it.
It's freaky, but is it also deaky?
I don't.
Real freaking naughty.
Now, how do you measure deakiness?
Well, you have to have a freakometer. It has to be freaky before it can be deaky.
Wait a minute. Do freakometers measure deakiness? I thought the freaky and deaky were like kind of like almost diametrically opposed, like a yin and yang.
My freakometer is spelled with a PH.
I always took deaky to be like another level of freaky.
Oh, it could be.
Freaky on crack is deaky.
Oh, right. Like you can't just be just freaky and be cool. You have to be deaky.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's Split. We've talked a lot about Split.
Yeah.
That's the movie that officially I think got M. Night back, and we'll see how Glass does, which seems to be on track to be it seems to be on track to be a big hit.
You
So
have
we'll
to
see
feel like he's had ideas in his head for long enough that now that he's got the shot to make this movie, there's going to be enough good bits in here. Maybe I'm just a sucker of an optimist.
I will watch it.
I am excited about it.
I'm going to be there. So then outside of the M. Night Shyamalan world, we'll start alphanumerically like we always do. Adventureland,
Yeah.
Oh,
which is a fun movie.
there's a lot of people in this that have gone on to bigger and better.
Yeah, you have Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart and
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah. There was a number of these type of movies coming out. They had Adventureland, Zombieland, and then even the Way Back has a lot, which is not in the same real era or anything, but it has the same feel as this movie does. Adventureland's a little bit raunchier than the Way Back, but Adventureland's fun.
Yeah.
Everybody fucks everybody in this movie, right?
There's a lot of fucking.
Is there a lot of fucking? I don't remember.
Everybody wants to fuck everybody.
Well, Kristen Stewart is like the side piece for Ryan Reynolds. And she wants to be more, but he's got a regular piece.
And Jesse Eisenberg wants her piece.
Yes.
A piece of her piece.
But he can't have her because she's holding out for Ryan Reynolds.
her piece or herpes?
A piece of Oh yeah.
No, that's a good movie. Is it a fictional place then, I guess? The
it's in
theme
Pittsburgh,
park?
Yeah, it's sort of, I guess it's probably based on it. Greg Mottola wrote and directed this, and Mottola is also known for Superbad. He directed Superbad and a movie back in 1996 called The Day Trippers. And he also did Paul, the Seth Rogen alien movie.
And much like in Superbad, Bill Hader threatens to steal this movie.
Yeah.
He's fucking great in this.
Yeah.
He and Kristen Wiig plays his wife in this.
Oh, yeah. There's a guy in here. He was in a bunch of commercials. I think I can't remember what his name is. But he's got probably the funniest part to me in this, and he's like, because he's like, don't go to sleep, and he's like, why? It's like, because I'm going to jack off all over your face.
I love these kinds of movies, man. I'm a sucker for them.
Me too.
It's like Wet Hot American Summer,
Yeah.
like dialed down a little bit. The to-do list is kind of like this.
Yeah.
So it's good
No,
stuff.
it's a fun movie. Then there is All the Right Moves. This is Tom Cruise looking to lose his virginity or something. Is that it?
No,
Losing it is one, but
yeah, that's.
But there's another. Wasn't he basically? This is another sex comedy though, right?
It's mostly about actually no, because this is the one with Craig T. Nelson where he's his coach, and it's one of those like Varsity Blues. You know, everybody blows up at the coach who's revered and all that stuff. So he's like this academic All-American, and he's trying to make it to where he can get into this good college and everything in Pennsylvania. And he has to go through Craig T. Nelson, who he butts heads with all the time. He does have a girlfriend. His buddy got his girlfriend pregnant. It's a whole thing.
I for some reason, I always pegged this movie. I've never seen it. I've always pegged this movie as a sex movie, and I guess it's just a football movie.
No, it's a football movie, and it's fairly dramatic. It's got some comedic elements to it and everything, but it's fairly dramatic about him trying to. I think he gets kicked off of the football team, which threatens his admission into college, but he really wants to go into college for like real collegiate purposes, not just to play football. So it's interesting. I mean, this was early Tom Cruise, and I remember it being pretty good. I mean, he's just always had just natural chops. I've never seen him act badly necessarily in something, and this is no different.
You know, I saw Lions for Lambs the other day.
Oh yeah.
This is one of those movies that I turned the TV on, and I was just doing stuff for a few minutes, and then I looked to see what was on and realized I had never seen it, and I was too lazy to change the channel, so I ended up watching most of it. Fucking Meryl Streep is in this movie, even though her and Tom Cruise spend the whole movie in an office arguing. But even this is a boring ass movie.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people in it that you probably forgot are in it, like fucking Andrew Garfield is in it.
Oh, yeah. Did Redford direct it?
Redford directed it,
Yeah.
and Andrew Garfield is a student who's arguing with Redford in his office the whole movie. But Michael Pena is in it.
People in offices arguing.
It really is. I mean, this movie bombed because it was people in rooms arguing about war and our purpose in life. But even with all of that, Tom Cruise was fucking sizzling.
He's good, man. He's
Sizzling.
just a good actor.
Yeah.
So I mean, yes, he's a lunatic and his religious views are fucked up, but he's a good actor, man.
Yeah. So is All the Right Moves good?
Oh yeah.
It's
a good classic thing. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah,
but it was very much in a place in that Varsity Blues. What's the other football movie where they turn on the coach?
Friday Night Lights?
Friday Night Lights. Yeah. That kind of thing where it's like they can go out and do it.
Yeah, it's also the movie that I think Rose McGowan mentions in Scream to Neff Campbell and says, if you pause the screen just right, you can see his penis.
There you go.
I know what I'm doing.
At Close Range, which is sadly set in Pennsylvania. This movie was shot in my hometown of Franklin, Tennessee.
Yeah,
wow.
baby.
Yeah, it has my high school in it.
Oh, wow.
It has before I was ever there high school, but 1986 is when this movie came out.
Interesting.
So At Close Range, yeah, this was a big deal for the tiny town of Franklin, man. Sean Penn and at the height of him just marrying Madonna.
Ooh.
Did she come to town?
I think she did. Because,
there's so many legends about this.
well,
shoot.
there was a discussion about how they were in some sort of hotel and all the paparazzi were out here and all that. Now I don't know how long she stayed, but I believe she did come down to Franklin and hung out with Sean Penn while he was doing
It's
this.
like, hey, did you hear that Miley got married last night?
Yeah.
And all the Hemsworths were in Tennessee last night.
Well, I did not know that they got married in Tennessee. I saw an article today that their marriage license was in Tennessee.
Yeah, they got married
on
at
the
her
18th.
her place in Franklin. And so Chris
sad
and
about all
Liam and Joe and Frank and Bill
And Squee.
Hemsworth, Squee Hemsworth,
Twiggy,
Twiggy Hemsworth.
Moon, River.
Yes. River. Yes.
Dweezil.
No, I had no idea that it was here. I didn't know
it was
that.
at her place. Anyway, so yes, but Tom, it was Sean Penn and Christopher
Walken and Chris Penn is in it, and Mary Stuart Masterson. There's a whole beginning of it is going around the Franklin Square, and there's a shot of there's Page High School is in it for a little bit. And, there's a scene with them going down Highway 96. There's a part where Walken and Penn buy a car at a used car place, drive down the road and to another car place and sell it for more money.
Oh yeah.
But okay, so this is a Pennsylvania movie. Damn it.
Yep. It's not very good. I don't remember liking it.
No,
very
I
much.
thought it was okay. It was good. That was an alright movie.
It's like Walken is Penn's father, and he wants to kill him after a while because he might talk.
Yeah, there's and they go around like stealing cars and stuff like that. There's even a like very era specific thing in there where they like steal a Toyota and they all jump up in the air and go Toyota.
Oh wow! Wow.
No, this was James Foley directed it. The
that's
guy
right.
who did Glengarry Glen Ross and I think some of the 50 Shades. Was it 50 Shades? It was one of those horrible. Yeah, I think it was 50 Shades.
Oh my god!
It's actually pretty good. I think the movie's all right. It's not great, but it's okay. But yeah, there's like a whole bunch of family tension in it, and it leads to Penn and Walken button heads. Then there is Baby Mama, and this is the Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, right?
Yeah, it is.
Tina Fey's from Pennsylvania.
I mean, it's fine. I thought it was fine.
This movie and The Brother Solomon came out the same year, and they both have the line, "Going to put a baby in you."
Oh, wow.
And Will Arnett is in Brother Solomon. He was married to Amy Poehler at the time. And I keep thinking that's another one of those scripts that branched off to another script at some point.
Interesting.
And because it's about the same thing. Brother Solomon is about them trying to impregnate, I think it's Kristen Wiig in that.
Oh, yeah.
They have to have a baby to have their inheritance or something. I don't know, remember what the whole story was, but same deal. It's about finding a foster mother, or not a foster mother, a surrogate mother and everything. And, Brother Solomon was Will Arnett and, Will Forte, and baby mama is Amy Poehler, Tina Fey. And I can't remember which one is, needing the baby or wanting the baby.
So Amy Poehler has the baby that Tina Fey wants.
Okay.
So, yeah, she's the surrogate. So she's trying to take care of her and make sure she's doing the right thing. Meanwhile, she's a colossal fuck-up.
It's just the odd couple, right? Take 20.
Yeah, kind of. You expect so much more, especially in this period where they're working together so well, starting in SNL, and then, Tina Fey did Mean Girls and all that stuff, and they had done some really good stuff. And this is just such a thin premise that seems like it's been done before. Yeah. Even there's some fun stuff in there, but you just
I don't remember very much about it at all. I did see it, but all right, now Bed of Roses. Now Barrett, I guarantee you have a story about Bed of Roses, don't you?
You had sex.
You had to have used this movie. If you used Untamed Heart, you used Bed of Roses.
Fuck yeah, I did, man. Okay, I think now that I wasn't going to talk about this.
What's hilarious is that I don't even have I'm half joking, but I know there had to have been a story with this movie.
I'm trying to think that this was 96.
Yeah.
Okay, I used it 3 times.
3 times.
You dog. You dog.
Listen, this is the most romantic fucking movie ever, though, because he doesn't even die like in Untamed Heart, where you have to do your business before that happens. In Bed of Roses, the romantic shit happens at the end.
Yeah,
because he's a flower delivery thing. He's a florist, and she's getting secret admirer things, and it's from him, and it just happens to be Christian Slater. And she finds it out at the end, and they embrace, and it's all lovey, and then climax.
Yeah. So Christian Slater, Mary Stuart Masterson again.
That's right.
I've never seen this movie.
Oh man, yeah, it's.
I took a date to it. I probably made out.
I do remember there was a Bon Jovi song called Bed of Roses, too, that came out around this time. Mm-hmm. He wants to lie you down in a bed of roses.
Yeah, which is not comfortable, right?
No. Well, tonight,
because every rose has its
on
thorn.
A bed of nails.
Doesn't it go, shot down in a bed of roses?
It does. It does go that way. Go check it.
He wants to hold you as close as the Holy Ghost is.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I didn't check those lyrics.
Oh, no.
He wants to hold you close as the Holy Ghost is.
No.
And the Holy Ghost is close. You know that.
Well.
Let's check it.
Check it.
Tonight I sleep on a bed of nails. Oh, I want to be just as close as the Holy Ghost is.
Oh,
I remember this song. I remember the song better than I remember the movie. Who's the female?
It's Mary Stuart
Masterson.
Yeah.
So she went from Benny and June to this?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, I guess her career ended?
I don't know. She's probably been in a bunch of stuff lately, and we just don't know.
I feel like those are the only 2 movies I remember her ever being in.
She used to be in everything. Her most recent thing that she was in was something called Skin. She'd been in a bunch of TV shows. Oh, she was in an episode of Blue's Clues.
Oh, nice.
She played Cinderella in one of the Blue's Clues.
Good for her.
Last big movie that I can see her on that I remember is The Postman, but she was uncredited in The Postman. She's the postman's daughter.
Oh,
so she's in that last scene?
Yeah. And then Heaven's Prisoners. Remember that movie?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's probably been since mid-90s since Mary Stuart Masterson has been on a bunch of stuff.
She made a conscious decision to walk away from the industry.
I don't think she did. She just kept working, but we just don't.
Yeah.
We haven't seen very many things that she's in. There's a lot of
watch Blue's Clues
TV episodes and minor movies.
I tell you what, you talked about Bed of Roses. I probably got 3 good dates out of Benny and June. Easy.
That was a little bit before my time.
Yeah, I always forget that you're like, what, 4 or 5 years younger than me?
Yeah.
Baby.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Then we have Best in Show.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah.
Listen, I know you guys love Waiting for Guffman, and I love Waiting for Guffman too, but this is my favorite Christopher Guest
You're
movie.
allowed to say that. As long as The Mighty Wind isn't your favorite.
Yeah.
No, that movie is just weird. I love Best in Show. It's so fucking great. All the different characters are hilarious in their own individual way.
Yeah.
And just the little tiny gags of like Catherine O'Hara being a straight up hoe back in the day.
Yeah.
And she's settled down with Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
And everybody keeps bringing up
Yeah.
like how fucking sexual she was.
There's a point where they're like after the dog show, they go and sing some bullshit, like they make a record. And because they win the dog show, and
Bow wow,
yeah, and then the guy is like, he's like, is that you? And the guy in the studio is like, is that you? He's like, does this ring a bell? I'm not wearing underwear, and she goes, bulge.
and then you see Eugene Levy just fucking like die.
And he says something like, I've never had that much fun on a roller coaster or some crap like that, or like some crap like he says something like that. Like they basically openly say like we were banging back in the day.
Yep.
And there's a point where they're having dinner earlier in the movie, and Eugene Levy is getting tired of this because every guy they run into is like banged his wife at one point. And he goes, well, you know what? I like your wife's big melon breasts. What do you think about that?
That's so great. Oh my God. Who was it? It wasn't, of course, this introduced us to the clueless comedic announcer.
Yeah.
Really, before Dodgeball and before all that stuff. Fred Willard. And he's up against, who is the guy? Is it Jim Piddock that is the straight man? Yeah, it's Jim Piddock.
And who does so good of a job being a straight man there that people actually thought he was a dog announcer.
Exactly. He's so prim and proper.
Yeah.
And he's parrying all of these ridiculous things, even better than Gary Cole does in Dodgeball. Like, he's absolutely pitch perfect. They're playing this perfectly, and it kills me every time.
And I think one of the reasons that these movies, when they land, can be so magical is that a lot of what you're seeing is just being improv. It's just being workshopped while they're filming. And he works with the same people over and over again because he knows these are people who fit this style. Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, these are people who are very quick-witted, who probably could do improv comedy at the drop of a hat and be as good as Ryan Stiles. There's a Ryan Stiles reference.
I was like sitting there like, yeah, Ryan Stiles. Yeah. No, yeah. Now I know exactly what you mean. And then you have Parker Posey, who was also in Waiting for Guffman. And I think this was the first time I saw John Michael Higgins in a movie, was Best in Show.
Yeah, I think so. He's definitely been in some sense. And Michael McKean, I think, had been before.
And Christopher Guest himself is really good in it too. Playing that deep Southern gentleman who's
I can name 40 different kind of peanuts or nuts.
Michael McKean liked a tweet that I was named in.
Is that right?
Well, it was Jessie Moulton's tweet that she tagged me in about being civil to people online, and it was a great tweet, and it's gotten a lot of deserved viral attention. But Michael McKean came on there like a day or two ago and replied, "Nice."
I love that guy. And an amazing, like, he can do broad comedy like Christopher Guest stuff, and then you see the shit that he did on Better Call Saul.
Yeah, man, he's got the
There
drama.
wasn't a comedic moment for him, barely, in that show, and he fucking nailed it.
He did.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That guy's amazing.
So Best in Show, huge recommend if we haven't recommended it before. I mean, we've definitely heavily recommended Waiting for Guffman. Best in Show was the one that came right after that, and they were still at the height of their powers, and then started to go downhill a little bit with Mighty Wind and what was it? The For Your Consideration were not very good. Then we have Blue Valentine, and Barrett puts in parentheses, Jesus, this movie is depressing. Yes, it is. It's very depressing. Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams Or is it? Yeah, because it's either Michelle Williams or it's was it
Carey Mulligan?
Carey Mulligan.
No, it's Michelle Williams.
because they both are interchangeable at times. But
this movie is fucking devastating. So like the polar opposite the effect on your boner as Bed of Roses.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get
you wouldn't show this to get ass.
Or just watch the first 15 minutes and then just
I was
going to
say, there's parts of this movie that are like, there's like a hard sex scene in this.
There is, but then it just drops
right.
off.
No, I was
downhill.
just saying, let's not blanketly say no one's going to get a boner at this movie.
That's true.
You know, depending on
but
when you walk out.
you're talking about the shower scene, right?
Well, no, there's a bunch of boning.
Oh, okay,
because
the shower scene is one like where they're like already headed downhill, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of like this might be the last time they ever have sex together is this scene. But yeah, but I guess before there's a couple others.
I believe there was some controversy in the fact that Ryan Gosling gives her oral pleasure in a scene. And it went on too long for for an R rating or whatever, and they said they were ordered to cut it down. Mm-hmm. But I remember Michelle Williams saying something about it, like, "Are you fucking serious?"
It's so stupid. The length of time, like that's what that whole this film has not yet been rated, or not yet rated, is about. Like because stuff like storytelling, where there's Keith David and Selma Blair having sex, like we have to cut out 3 thrusts for this to be good. And you're like, what does it matter? Are people like bringing their kids to this movie?
Yeah.
If oh my God, there was too much thrusting there.
Like seriously, also that is the least sexy sex scene
Yes, it
I've
is.
ever seen in my life. Like
Yeah.
talk about penis shriveling inside the body and staying there for 6 months.
Yeah.
That's not a sexy scene at all. So the number of thrusts shouldn't matter.
Right.
Are you listening to what she's saying?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
People, they all need to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and one of them is a guy who works at Regal too, by the way. One of those
yeah.
MPAA guys who once I don't know if you call it reprimanded, but yelled at me over email about I canceled a movie at Hollywood 27, which you're not supposed to do on your own. And put in because I think we had a movie that was like opened that week, huge, and the projector went down. And I went over, I was like, man, this movie, whatever was in number 12 at the time, like 0, 0, 0, 0. And I just went ahead and just without them anything. It was a holiday.
Yeah.
I was like, bam, I'm putting this movie in 12 and they can go fuck themselves. And like later on, I wrote an email saying, I have canceled this movie. And then I went and owned it and everything.
Yeah.
I canceled this movie, put this one in, just waiting for your instructions about what to do about it, blah, blah, blah. And then the guy who was also on the MPAA, came back and said, you're not supposed to cancel movies like that, blah, 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 blah. And like, you're supposed to get, an okay from the corporate office and all that. And I was like, when I'm thinking about something I have to do in the next 15 minutes and I'm thinking about emailing you guys on a holiday and getting an answer back in a timely fashion, fuck you.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Regal.
Then we have Bob Roberts, which was the Tim Robbins. This is his debut, I believe, his directorial debut. Bob Roberts, where he's a politician that goes around like he plays like on guitar and stuff like that, and
He's like a folk musician.
yeah.
Turned. I just watched this recently.
Oh,
like,
really?
Maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. It's a lot more boring than you remember.
Yeah. Well, it was a movie he had just come off The Player, and it looked like he was trying to do his own Robert Altman movie.
Yeah, and it is. It's kind of like the camera's just hanging out there, and you can watch this conversation or that conversation. The only charming bits are the songs. He's got one song about dope is bad, or
He's a conservative politician,
He
right?
is.
He's like for the gun-toting, rednecks.
he
in
would be a
quotes, or
red
whatever.
state politician. Now, this is a 22-year-old movie, so I think even what red state means has changed.
Right.
But yes, he's a conservative politician using Americana music to campaign, and it's boring, and I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
I remember it being boring.
I
too.
don't remember liking it at all. There is a part where I think there's an assassination attempt towards the end, and they have Richard Belzer as one of the witnesses, and he's like, I don't know, I heard gunshots and everybody went down, and then when I looked up, I saw the Russians. There was all the Russians. That was pretty funny. But that's the only thing I remember about that movie. Then there's Carmen, a hip opera. I've never seen this.
This had Beyonce and Mekhi Phifer on it. This is a retelling of Carmen.
This is no movie.
There's no Mekhi
There's
Phifer.
no Mekhi Phifer.
This is my life.
Yeah.
And these times are getting hot.
Yeah.
This was around the turn of the century when MTV was really trying to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still before the hyper digital age.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Beyonce. I believe this came right before or right around when she was in Goldmember. So it was either her film debut or right around there. And it's not bad.
Yeah. Okay.
It's I love the opera. The Bizet did Carmen, which is all about this sultry, lusty woman that just causes trouble wherever she goes, and everybody falls in love with her. And so they update it, and it's all rapping and stuff like that. There's a ton of rappers in this. It's not bad. I haven't seen it since it came out, though.
Okay. Well, maybe I have to look at that. I don't think I've even ever heard of it before.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
I mean, I've heard of Carmen, but I've never heard of.
It played on MTV. It was never theatrically released, but I don't remember seeing it anywhere else. Maybe a couple of like replays on MTV.
Mm-hmm. Then there's Clean and Sober, which I remember Michael Keaton. This is a depressing fucking movie.
God damn it is.
Yeah.
Is it more or less depressing than My Life? What happened to Michael Keaton? He had a stretch there where he was just trying to make you cry and hate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And this is like all the worst part. He's on cocaine.
Like
I think.
that's what back in these days there was a ton of these type of movies.
Yeah.
You know.
Michael J. Fox has one.
Yeah.
Bright Lights, Big City.
Well, I think it was bright because that's the cocaine.
Yeah.
That's cocaine.
Yeah.
But there was a bunch of these type of movies. Like it was either, like what was the When a Man Loves a Woman was another one where it was like, I think it was Andy Garcia and Meg Ryan.
Oh, alcoholism.
Yeah, alcoholism was like, and every time it would be like, okay, we got to get down into the nitty gritty of this.
Yeah, who's gonna go and like, hey,
take
baby,
our journey with us here, and I need you to be, we need you to get down into these guys like level and like how horrible it is and depressing and shit. And that's what Clean and Sober is.
Let's go on a date to go see Clean and Sober.
Yeah, you're not sealing the deal with this movie.
God, you realize how we sound terrible.
I know.
I'm just saying.
Like every
Who was
movie.
like, hey, baby,
every
listen,
movie's
I'm going to
a-
take you out tonight. We're going to go to fucking for Mindy's, and then we're going to go to fucking Clean and
I've
Sober.
never made out with anyone that didn't want to make out with me. Like I'm not like tricking like.
Oh, I'm just saying you're not going to feel good at the end of the night. I'm not saying that you're going to bone or not, depending
No,
on
I'm just
this.
saying, we casually talking about taking women to certain movies and getting some action. I just wanted to make it clear it wasn't like it's nothing shady
nothing
going
like that,
on
no.
here.
Yeah,
Just
it's-
gets you in the mood.
Yeah, it's
And
not
Clean and Sober does
It's not
get
well,
you.
and it's not like all the movies we're sitting there thinking about. Like, can we possibly get laid? Watching this movie. Like, nope, not watching Clean and Sober. Nope, not on the menu.
Kinsey, yep.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Then we have The Dark Knight Rises, which was actually it's still Gotham, but it's which reminds me, this would be a good point to talk about another movie that we missed on Oregon because of this very unique thing that happens here. So yes, it was shot in Pittsburgh because there's the whole thing at Heinz Field where the atomic bomb or whatever blows up, and Heinz Ward's running for a touchdown and doesn't know anything is going on behind
the
him.
whole ground is falling apart behind me.
Yeah. But in Oregon, someone mentioned that Animal House was shot there, and
My father actually asked me about this. He was like, "So you guys mentioned Animal House in Oregon, right?"
yeah, and the reason why it wasn't mentioned is because it's not set in any particular place. So when you look up for what is set in these states, Animal House, stuff like that doesn't have a real setting isn't going to come up. And Dark Knight Rises is another one of these type of movies. It was shot there, but there's not really, we're not going to go to a point where it's like, well, let's do all the movies that were shot in Gotham or set in Gotham.
Yeah.
Because then it's just all Batman movies.
Well, I've talked about it before. I just want to make one final plea about this. I don't understand. If it were the difference between a Zack Snyder Batman movie and a Christopher Nolan Batman movie, I would understand it. But why the fuck did he move such an iconic Gotham-Chicago hybrid in The Dark Knight to such an obvious Pittsburgh location
I think it's
for
clear.
his next movie.
Because the Pittsburgh gave him more money than Chicago did.
That doesn't seem...
Why
Yes,
is Amazon building
that's
their
all-
new headquarters
Okay,
in New York?
That is always the answer to everything. And I understand that.
Yeah.
And that's definitely the answer. But when it comes to somebody like Christopher Nolan, why this dude, more so than other people, appreciates at least artistic sensibilities and consistencies. Why would you move it to such an obviously different location? It just doesn't make narrative sense. And it was jarring for me mentally because I had seen Dark Knight so many times at that point that I had associated this and this and this and this. Happened to be living in Chicago at the time, so that probably helped. But it's just so jarring that I don't understand from the word go, this is not going to work for me all the way because it's such an obviously different setting.
And it kills the sense of scale in a lot of moments.
Yes.
Because you can't, it doesn't look like Pittsburgh, but you can tell we're not in Chicago anymore.
Yes.
That's the thing that about Dark Knight Rises. I think there's a back and forth between New York and Pittsburgh. And is there even still some Chicago in there?
I think there's
there
a
is,
couple
a
of
little
shots.
bit.
Like,
yeah.
that's the thing that's really just very strange about that movie is the setting is obviously changed too many times in that. And Pittsburgh comes out of left field,
Yeah.
And the series is always it's nobody's fault when somebody dies, like the Matrix 2 and 3 and having to change the actress for the Oracle. But we already changed from Katie Holmes to Maggie Gyllenhaal, and like there's all sorts of inconsistencies from movie to movie in this series anyway. So maybe that was why the kickbacks from Pittsburgh won the day.
I
don't
guess.
know.
I mean, of all the things that have to change due to Heath Ledger's death and change and whatever, that's one that you didn't have to do. And I bet it would. I mean, the movie I don't think could be saved regardless because I hate it. But just give me that Gotham. Everybody loved that Gotham. In the Dark
I
Knight.
agree.
Gotham is yours. Dawn of the Dead, which it's the Romero or is it both Dawn of the Deads?
No, because it is the Romero one. The new one is set in California.
Yeah, we actually talked about it either in
Right.
California or some other place. But
all of the Romero Dead stuff, as far as I know, maybe the later ones are somewhere else, but they're all in Pennsylvania. So Night
Okay.
of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and so on.
is Dawn of the Dead his best movie?
See, I like Night of the Living Dead a lot.
Ugh,
I like it
I
a
like
lot.
this better than Night.
I think I probably do.
Mhm.
I think because it was so groundbreaking. I've watched Dawn of the Dead a lot more than I have Night of the Living Dead. So I guess I'd probably have to say yes.
Yeah,
And I don't know what else has he done outside of the
he's
Dead
done a lot of
stuff.
stuff outside of it, but those aren't the movies that you would ever say are his best. Like
Right.
I think he did Creepshow, maybe.
Yeah, he did.
Let me look up George
Because
Romero.
that's actually on here too.
He did Legally Blonde too.
Oh yeah, he did. He did.
He did Gorby.
It's so crazy. He's got his fingers in a lot of pies. That George A. Romero. He did The Dark Half. He did Monkey Shines. Creepshow, and outside of that, then he did The Crazies, the original Crazies.
Yeah, but no, I mean, Dawn of the Dead was just a perfect encapsulation of the time. It was scary. It was funny. It was
had a message behind it.
satirical.
And it showed it really sort of shows the blueprint of what horror is sort of maybe becoming more of today, where it's got a message, where it's got a second type of subplot, sub-story, subtext to it, where it's not just about it's Hereditary. I mean, even that, it's not, Hereditary is not nearly as a fun movie as Dawn of the Dead is, but there's other messages going on other than just the straight text that you see on it and everything. Then we have Desperate Measures. This I never saw this. I know this wasn't very good though. Michael Keaton, Andy Garcia. We
I
mentioned
saw
it.
this movie. I remember nothing about it at all.
Okay, so it's Andy Garcia is a cop whose son has leukemia or something like that. And the only person that has like a blood type or an organ or something like that is Michael Keaton, who is convicted, also happens to be an evil genius.
Oh.
And so he's like Hannibal Lecter in this movie, where like he has to be confined and like strapped down and all that stuff.
I saw this because I built it, which means, and I know exactly which theater I was working in. So that means this had to have been like 97?
Yep.
It's 98.
Right around there. Yeah.
So I saw it that one night and dismissed it. But the way you just described it makes me want to give it a law-abiding citizen view.
Me too. I actually
Because
want to see this
it
again.
may
I saw this
be
back in the day, too, in the theater.
bonkers in a way that I can enjoy now.
I've never even heard of Michael Keaton playing this type of role before. Like,
It came and went along with that Hugh Grant, Gene Hackman.
Yeah, Extreme Measures.
Yeah, I know. I got these things mixed up because I saw them right around the same time.
Extreme Measures came out in '96, but yeah, it's the same sort of deal. Like it's a generically titled thing.
Yeah.
So I'll have to see. I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah. You know what? This might even be a movie I've seen, and I don't remember anything of it. But I know I was at a theater that ran it. Then there's The Deer Hunter, and I've talked about The Deer Hunter and how much I don't understand why this is people hold this so high in esteem.
I caught it again fairly recently, man.
Yeah.
It's so intense. It's hard to watch because it's so intense.
I've seen it
but I think it's amazing.
times. I've seen it 5 times, and I've never gotten anything out of it except the Russian roulette scene.
I think the Brotherhood, especially early on, that Christopher Walken, De Niro, and a couple of the other guys have before they're shipped off to war, and this is all in like Pennsylvania, they're in mining towns.
Yeah, they're blue collar steel workers or something that. Yeah,
and that kind of thing really sets up how fucked up Walken just gets from this whole thing, and how he's just never going to be the same, and the fact that De Niro goes back to him and tries to bring him out of this whole thing. There's so many intense scenes in there, and I think it's supported. It's buttressed by the story at the beginning. I love it.
I've given this movie so many chances, man. Yeah. I can't. I'm not on board with it.
It's also very, very long.
Yeah. Diabolique, which is the original is fucking amazing.
Yes, it is.
The remake, I guess, is the only one that's from actual. Diabolique was actually a French film.
Yeah, it's in France. Yeah, this is in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, this is in Pennsylvania.
Do you remember seeing it?
Yeah, I did, because the first one is the original is amazing.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
The first one is fucking great, but yeah, this one, Sharon Stone and Isabelle Adjani.
Is it Chaz Palminteri?
Yeah, it's Chaz Palminteri.
Jesus, I saw it once and hated it.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's not good. It's about a guy he's married and he's having an affair with Isabelle Adjani, and then I can't remember what happens, but both she and Sharon Stone end up plotting his death.
Yep.
And they kill him, and then they start seeing him everywhere they go.
So it's John Tucker Must Die, basically.
It's just like John Tucker
for the
Must
Richies.
Die. It is.
Who did they kill in Bound? Jennifer Tilly and
was it Joey Pants?
Oh, that's right. I thought it was Chaz Palminteri.
Yeah.
Well, they both have weird P names.
Yes, that's true.
But yeah, the remake wasn't very good. Watch the fucking original. I believe it was 1960 French film. Go and watch that shit. That's good stuff. Fallen, which is I know Jeremy wants to talk about.
This movie's good.
It's got bad reviews.
I don't care. This movie's good.
Yes, it is.
So it's Elias Koteas is a serial killer who's being executed, and Denzel put him behind bars. It's not. Elias Koteas is human. He's not a bad guy. He's just possessed by Azazel.
Yeah. Yep.
An evil demon.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a bad guy.
And before the death, he sneaks out of the gas chamber and into somebody else. And the whole movie, Azazel is unbreakabling himself from person to person, because when he touches somebody within a certain distance, he can travel to get to. I think the movie even spells out like he's got 100 feet
right
to go from body to body. And Denzel first has to realize there's a demon, because at first, he runs into Azazel in somebody else's body, but it says something that only
it's that Rolling
Elias
Stones
Koteas
song.
Would have said. Well, yeah, they keep singing that time is on your side. And so Denzel eventually figures out what's going on. The ending of this movie is so great.
It really is.
We're 20 years out. I shouldn't need a spoiler warning, but I don't even want to tell you what happens.
No.
Because the ending makes the whole movie great. But John Goodman's really good in this. Donald Sutherland's really good in this. It's not long. It's not going to suck away an afternoon. I want to say it's under 2 hours. And I'm not a big guy who goes much for demon possession movies. This is not really even a demon possession movie. This is a crime mystery. and the criminal just happens to be a demon that can move into other bodies. I really, really dig it.
And it's also that the demon seems to be having fun, too. Which makes it a little bit, everybody that's acting as the demon in their body is having a blast doing it. Yeah. And no, I agree. I love this movie.
I think this was Denzel did this movie because he was offered 7 and he didn't do that. And then he saw how it was a big hit. And he's like, okay, I want to have my 7 now. And so they came out with this. And of course, Fallen didn't do nearly as much. But that is an interesting kind of take on that. The idea that you've missed out on one movie, so you go and do something else,
Well, that's how Denzel operates, right? That's how we got the Equalizer series, right?
Yeah.
I want my Taken.
Yeah. John Goodman was in like 5 movies in '98, like all in a same. It was in like
Borrowers?
3 months. He was in The Borrowers. He was in Blues Brothers 2000. It was Big Lebowski. All these movies came out like around the same time. It's like Goodman was in every trailer that you played.
That's nuts.
Back then. It was quite a bit there.
Busy year.
Yeah. Then we have Flashdance.
Oh boy, I can't say anything.
Does Jennifer Beals get naked in this movie?
I don't remember.
I don't think she does, because her whole thing is that she's a stripper, but she's a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
She's a ballerina, and she wants to get into ballerina school. Mm-hmm. And so to support herself, she has to strip.
It's not rated R though, is it?
Yes, because there is nudity in this, and it's you think about this movie, you remember Maniac, and you remember What a Feeling is the main title tracks and all that. Mm-hmm. But I remember nude scenes being in it, and of course you remember the shower dance and all that stuff. I don't think she's naked, though. She goes through this whole, it is R-rated, she goes through this whole movie as an exotic dancer, but I don't think she ever gets naked. And not that she needs to, I'm just like saying it's odd.
Jessica Alba and Sin City type stripper, where
that kind of thing,
like, okay, I'm going to play a stripper, but I'm not going to do any of the things that strippers do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just odd to me that a movie about a stripper, or a movie about a woman that does strip and shows a lot of scenes at the club, just doesn't.
I couldn't. I don't remember.
Anyway,
is Flashdance any good?
No,
I can't imagine it is.
No,
I never saw it.
I do like Maniac and What a Feeling.
Yeah,
I do think
she's
it was
a maniac.
A poor reference for Deadpool 2 to make in the poster.
Oh, with the bullets coming down.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure that really connected. Like people really realized what the hell you were even.
Oh yeah, I don't think
parodying there.
This I've read the book, but I've never seen the movie Flowers in the Attic, which is God, it's incest.
There's multiple incests.
Yeah. It's a brother and sister who are locked in an attic, right?
They're locked in the attic because the mom has incested with her cousin. Or something like that.
I don't even remember that part.
And then like her dad is pissed off because she did the incest.
Yeah.
And then the kids, because they're up there in the attic.
Yeah.
They start to incest.
And they don't see anything wrong with it. It's told like a love story.
You know what's weird is, as a movie, disgusting and wrong. As a porno, probably a bestseller.
Probably so. I would agree with you. I would agree with you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know why this fucking book, and I think one of the adaptations, was such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
You remember reading it? I guess it's well written, but like, why
doesn't it come down to what Jeremy is just saying? He's joking, obviously, but there's a taboo nature to this.
I guess
that a lot of people are real interested in. Okay. As long as it's other brothers and sisters and it's not my brothers and sisters, it's totally fine.
Exactly.
Then there's Gettysburg. Yes, 1993 Civil War movie that is very, very long.
It's 4 hours. It's over 4 hours.
Over 4 hours. It's enjoyable if you're a history nerd like me, especially if you're an American history nerd.
Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
Jeff Daniels.
Yeah. And then they later made the sequel, Gods and Generals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I remember it being really, really good. This wasn't Ken Burns. Like, this was a fictionalized.
Yeah, it's dramatized.
Dramatized.
Then there's Gia, which is this is Angelina Jolie sort of breaking onto the scene. Like, she had been in a bunch of stuff, but this was her star-making performance.
This was an HBO film, wasn't it?
It was an HBO movie, yes.
I was going to say, I don't think it was
And it's
theatrical.
awful. I saw it recently. It came on the other day, and I was like, damn, HBO has really stepped up their game on...
It's shot like a softcore porn.
It really is. And it is. It kind of is. But it's about this model, Gia. What was her name?
I forget her
I
last
can't remember her
name.
last
She's
name.
a real model.
Real model, but sort of considered different for the time and everything, and but then got into super like amounts of drugs and like lots of unprotected sex, and I think she died of
I
AIDS.
was going to say, AIDS is part of that story too, I think.
Yeah. But if you want to see a lot of Angelina Jolie naked, you'll see that in Gia.
And Elizabeth Mitchell.
Yeah, Elizabeth Mitchell, who, a little bit. You don't see too much, but a little bit.
You could just Google.
Yeah.
Turn off safe search, save yourself a couple hours.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, the movie's awful.
That movie is
oh
terrible.
my God.
Yeah.
I think back then, though, it was considered like very well done.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I don't remember it coming out to. I mean, the praise was almost all about her.
Yeah.
And I guess she's okay in the movie. I don't know anything about the girl she's portraying to know if she's giving a good performance. And of course, the time it came out, there's only one reason I was watching this movie anyway. I wanted to see her naked. I did. The movie's not good enough for me to ever go back.
Yeah. And then there more Angelina Jolie, Girl Interrupted. Speaking of incest, no, I'm just kidding.
I feel like we just talked about
We
this
talked about
movie.
this because of James Mangold.
Oh.
And again, I think I saw a little snippet of this movie fairly recently, and I was moved by it because it was written. It's a memoir written by the perspective of a woman who had gone in. She was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, tried to kill herself, and was in the psychiatric hospital with a bunch of characters, much like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but much more progressive. And until you've actually been in one of those places, which I worked at for many, many years, like, it's just a unique perspective. And I think that's why I like it so much, is that they get it right.
Yeah.
They get that the nurses are not always either super caring about you, nor are they Nurse Ratched.
Right.
They have to have a relationship with you, as do the counselors and that kind of thing. But then you have to keep it professional too, especially when it comes to somebody with borderline personality disorder. It was very volatile. So I think that's why I like this movie.
Is Winona Ryder the main character in
I
this?
think so.
Winona Ryder, and he had Brittany Murphy was in this too. I don't remember liking the movie too much. I did like the performances in it.
Yeah,
and everything. But
that's the main thing to take away from it.
Yeah, the reason why I mentioned the incest thing was that when Angelina Jolie won her Oscar for this, she came up to the stage and said, "I'm so in love with my brother right now."
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was a whole thing about that.
Didn't she give him a deep, long kiss on the red carpet?
There was a kiss.
I think so.
There
Yeah,
was a kiss.
think so. But would you recommend Girl Interrupted?
I would absolutely recommend Girl Interrupted. Who steals the movie? Angelina Jolie is great, but Whoopi Goldberg is terrific in this movie. So I think it's a strong recommend.
Then there's Groundhog Day, obviously awesome movie there. If I'm sure we've talked about Groundhog Day a bunch.
Punxsutawney.
Yeah, great movie there. And I would give more time to it, but we are already pretty deep. So,
Well, and we have definitely talked about that one plenty.
then there's a House Guest, Sinbad, Phil Hartman movie.
This movie will make you laugh, man.
I don't remember if I saw this because there's also Bringing Down the House, which had Steve Martin and Queen Latifah, which is basically the same deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's Sinbad that has to run from the mob, so he poses as a dentist to stay at Phil Hartman and family's house.
Yeah.
And it's, man, I don't know what it is about it, but I like Sinbad. I like Sinbad's humor. I think he's funny, and he completes me.
What's great about one of the things that I think made Phil Hartman so awesome is that he was a great straight man, as good as there was, but he could also go on the wacky side and give you the voices and be the more comedic extreme character, and whichever way he's playing, he's always awesome. He makes every scene he's in better.
I'm trying to remember, was House Guest was one of his last movies, wasn't it?
I think so. I have this theory that they had such a good time on Jingle All the Way, they decided to work together, and so they went and made House Guest.
Yeah, maybe so.
It makes sense.
Just
Even though I don't think they have any scenes together in Jingle All the Way.
It looks like maybe Small Soldiers was his.
Oh, yeah.
one of his last ones. I'm looking for House Guest, though. Did that come out before Jingle All the Way?
Probably
in 94.
Probably
Yeah, it did come out before. So had such a great time on House Guest. They did Jingle All the Way. Then there's Invincible. That's the movie where Mark Wahlberg is like a bartender and he tries out for the Eagles and he makes it.
And Greg Kinnear's the coach.
Yeah,
It's a true story.
yeah, it's a true story.
It's a true story. I actually think this is truer to real life than Rudy.
Yeah.
But I do think the movie fudges at the end and lets him do. What does he do? Does he make
He
a big
scores
tackle?
a touchdown, I think. When I don't know if he actually
See, I
did
think
it
in real life he made a tackle.
Right. Yeah.
And in the movie, he like does something much greater.
I kind of like this movie. It was schmaltzy.
No, it was perfectly fine.
Yeah,
It's a
it was
Disney sports movie. It's
Most of
pretty
those are somewhere between B and B.
I caught two. Talking about sealing the deal. I saw two people fucking in this movie.
Oh,
so.
did you really?
Yeah.
Oh man, they must really like the Eagles.
So what I would do when I was a projectionist would if I'd start all these 9:00 movies and I would and there was nobody in there, I'd open up the window and kind of peer down in there because I wouldn't see anybody right away. I would peer down in there and be like, if there's nobody in there, and if I come back another 5 minutes later and there's nobody in there, then I'm turning it off so that I can just go ahead and save the lamp hours and all that. And Invincible was one of those where I popped my head in and I was like
You
looking
smelled
around.
the stank?
No, I didn't. Yeah, luckily I didn't do that. But I saw, chick was riding dude pretty good in the back row there.
Right on.
Way to go, man.
so they could both see.
So they could both see.
That was their bed of roses.
It was, yeah, exactly. It was reverse cowgirl. So they were like looking on the.
It's been around, baby. March on the
Yeah,
street.
exactly. I want to see this. Then there's Jack Reacher, which is all around Pittsburgh and everything.
Do you like this movie? You liked it better.
Liked
on
it better the
watch,
second
right?
run.
It's still not like amazing.
No,
or
no,
anything.
no.
It's just a solid, action ass beater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Tom Cruise doing Taken.
The opening of the movie is really good. It's shot around the baseball stadium and everything, and it's just really well done and everything. Everything else after that, it's a pretty good movie. It's overall, it's all right.
Got Werner Herzog in there.
It does.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy in this. He's a very bad guy.
Who's this Jack Reacher?
Yeah,
That's what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's like Schwarzenegger.
Then there's Kingpin, which is shot a lot around Amish country or set around Amish country and everything. Another bowling comedy, but this one has more bowling in it than Big Lebowski
It does.
did. And it's just a funny nutty movie. I mean, Woody Harrelson, Bill Murray, Randy Quaid, Vanessa Angel, just going around bowling, hustling bowling.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And then ultimately ending with a big bowling championship at the end that Randy Quaid's going to enter, but he can't. And Woody Harrelson, who was a former is a has-been in the bowling, comes back and tries to beat Bill Murray in the big championship.
This is maybe the hammiest performance I've seen Bill Murray do.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
up
yeah,
there.
it is.
And that's saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's half his career is made of ham.
Yeah.
I love the guy.
But
Yeah.
there's scene, like the
He's usually
scene.
a little more deadpan.
The scene
than
where
this.
he's doing the video or the single moms, he's helping out the single moms, and he's obviously there to fuck all the single moms. And he's like, like the girl, like one of the women is like his center, and he like pulls her skirt up and like, what, two, all that. But Kingpin, yeah, if you don't like gross out humor, then you probably don't want to watch this.
There's
but
some gross out
there's
stuff
some
in
really
there.
gross things in this, but it's a Farrelly Brothers movie. It was their post There's Something About Mary comedy, and I really love it, but not for everybody. Then there's Law Abiding Citizen,
Oh, wow. Well,
which of course we've discussed a bunch before, and it's one of those Rekha Warren.
You've seen it too,
I
right?
haven't seen it. No.
Oh, yeah. Well,
But you have.
I have.
Oh, God.
It was so much fun.
Oh, man. It is the most fun I've had with a bad movie in probably 20 years.
I totally agree.
Then there's The Long Kiss Goodnight. Shane Black wrote this. Rennie Harlan directed. Samuel Jackson, Gina Davis. Really fun action
Yes, it
movie.
is. Craig Bierko.
Yeah, Craig Bierko.
Sorry, I really love this movie. This
yeah.
was one of those movies that both the time it came out, sort of before the explosion of the internet, And it's one of those movies that I didn't see any trailers for. And I'm just walking along the video store one day and I'm like, well, I know all these people, action comedy. And we put it in and it just hits all the right beats.
Yeah.
It's funny. The action is good. I don't know. I just love this movie.
That's why I like the Shane Black movies, is that this and like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, it's not afraid to go crazy places.
Yeah.
You know? It's just stopping short of the Lethal Weapon real zaniness, you know?
Yeah.
It's fun, but it's brutal, it's violent, it's profane, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Brian Cox is in this? Is that right? Because he's got that line where his wife's dog is licking its ass, and he's like, I humbly submit that whatever that dog is trying to get out of its ass is either long gone or there to stay.
It is Brian Cox. It is Brian Cox.
It's a very Brian Coxian line. But,
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang's been playing a ton lately.
Yeah.
And there's that part at the very beginning where he's talking to Michelle Monaghan at the bar, and she says something like, she's had more dicks in her than hot meals or fresh meals or something like that. Something like to that effect. And he goes, oh yeah, remember it was neck and neck, and he skipped lunch.
Great.
Shane Black's awesome.
Yep.
Then there's Love and Other Drugs, which we briefly talked
Wow.
about before.
Oh,
Yep.
that's right. I accidentally.
Do you
brought it
like
up
this
early.
movie despite the things?
No, this movie is all the bad tropes.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's sick and she's going to get sicker, so she's trying to push him away. And yeah, I mean, no.
Yeah.
I don't buy that relationship for a minute.
Yeah.
And the whole thing hinges on him throwing away his career
Yeah,
to
that's true.
save the relationship. And I think the movie suggests that she's wrong 100% for ending the relationship to spare him pain because she's going to die in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that she's 100% wrong for doing that.
It's like a Deadpool thing, right?
Well, the movie says, it's more like an Arrival thing for me. Like, granted, it's not like choosing to have a baby, but choosing to have a relationship that you know is going to cause the other person pain, just because you also know for a brief time it'll cause them pleasure or love. I don't know that her choice is the villain the movie makes it out to be, but because it's a romantic drama comedy, we have to go that direction. Yeah. Love conquers all, of course. They want to be together. But like, he even says something to her like, it's going to be work. It'll be hard, but we'll work for it. And she's like, it's going to be way more work for you than it will be for me. And he's like, I don't care. And I'm like, yeah, there's going to come a point where you will.
Yeah.
I don't know. Movies like to make it out like taking care of a sick person for 5 years isn't super difficult.
Yeah.
Like, what's the movie I was watching the other day where the guy is dating somebody who's got, please help me think of this. It's Love and Other Drugs. Sorry. Leave that in. So she discovers, fuck off, Barrett. So she discovers some support group. She discovers some support group for Parkinson's. And he goes, and he's uncomfortable being in there. I just made myself a joke forever with that. So he goes out to the refreshments table, and a guy comes up to him, an older guy. He's like, stage 1? He's like, what? He's like, your wife. She looks like she's in stage 1. He's like, oh no, it's my girlfriend. We're not married. What about you? He's like, oh, my wife she's in stage 4. Jake Gyllenhaal goes, any advice? And the guy goes, walk away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love my wife, but I would never do this again. No one ever tells you how hard it's going to be. And he eventually gets to a point where he's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. And Jake's like, no, I asked,
Yeah, there you go.
But so even the movie I'm making fun of saying did give that perspective, but then kind of brushes it away at the end as though that's not a legit concern Jake should have had. Or I guess they're saying he loves you so much. Blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. I think it's different. I'm really digging a hole here. I think it's different when you're in an established relationship for years and years and years, and then your partner comes up with Parkinson's.
Sure.
Than it is to be dating someone who's got Parkinson's, who's telling you, stop dating me, this is going to get bad, move on. I think that's a different scenario.
I got you.
That's all I'm really trying to say.
It's almost like the similar to this movie
Love and Other Drugs? Yeah, that's good. If you can't even get through the joke without laughing, it may be a little too soon.
Let it never be said that we couldn't compare this movie with Arrival and Deadpool, by the way.
And itself.
Yeah, and itself.
Itself. Yes, I did just compare a movie to itself.
Anne
God,
Hathaway's pretty. That's the reason
is.
why he's in love with her.
And Jake Gyllenhaal is very pretty.
Also, you forget Josh Gad is in this movie.
yeah, he's the roommate, right?
And he's actually the only fun part, or the only redeemable part, I think, because he's got some pretty good lines in there.
There's a lot. There's some actors out there. This would be fun to check out sometime. How many actors have had on-screen romances more than once in movies that you never really think about? Like Jake Gyllenhaal and Anne Hathaway. Brokeback Mountain was the other time. Philip Seymour Hoffman and Marissa Tomei twice at least.
Yep. That's a bizarre one.
Yeah. But they've been in at least 3 movies together, and twice they were.
Well, and Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone have been in at least 2 movies.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone have
it's La La Land and that gangster movie.
Well, no, I was thinking about the Steve Carell one.
Yeah, the
Crazy Stupid Love.
The Crazy Stupid Love was.
Well, then there's also that gangster one.
Yeah, Gangster Squad. Which they were also romantically involved in that movie. So.
Why don't they just fucking get it over with?
Right. Like, fuck you, Andrew Garfield. You're not part of this shit. And Eva Mendes. Fuck you too.
Yeah. Well, he's married to her, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
That's what I thought.
Then there's Mannequin and Mannequin 2 on the move. Mannequin. Kim Cattrall's a mannequin who comes to life.
Mm-hmm. Only in the 80s could this fucking shit happen, right?
What a fucking terrible
and
movie.
Is it Jonathan Silverman or Andrew McCarthy?
It's Andrew McCarthy.
It's Andrew McCarthy. It's either one because they're both in Weekend at Bernie's. But yeah, it's today's special for adults.
Nice. Nice. This did. That's a deep cut reference,
Yes,
folks.
it is.
Look it up. This did give us what most people consider to be the worst pop song of all time. Starships, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now.
Yep.
People consider that to be the worst pop song of all time?
Well, it's either that or We Built This City on Rock and Roll.
Yeah, I was about to say that's another one that people often say.
I like that
Anything.
song.
So I like both of those songs.
I competed in a talent show in 5th grade by lip syncing to We Built This City.
Oh, yeah?
Lip syncing is not a talent, but in 5th grade they let you think it is.
Man.
Didn't Mannequin 2 also have a hit song?
No, nothing. Okay. Mannequin 2 is Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now.
Yeah, I was about to say, that one's the one that had the song. The first one, I can't remember if it did.
No, hold on. Mannequin received an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Song for Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now.
Okay.
So it's in both films.
Oh.
In 1991, a sequel was released.
So it was the first one.
The original film's theme song, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, was featured in this film at all. So yeah, it was the retread basically.
Okay. But yeah, I don't remember too much about Mannequin. It's an 80s nostalgia piece.
He fucks that mannequin though.
He does. He does.
Yep.
Well, if it's like Kim Cattrall back in the 80s, I'd fuck that mannequin too.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Mirrors. Oh, this is a horrible movie.
Mirrors.
Kiefer Sutherland is in this, and it's about a fucking killer mirror.
Amy Smart. Amy
Amy Smart
is
is in it, and yeah, Amy Smart.
It's like you're my mirror.
Yeah.
Whoa.
If
my favorite
I
Justin Timberlake
recall
song.
correctly, this mirror is pissed off because it is discovered in some sort of like insane asylum, like old insane asylum or something like that, and you're supposed to help the mirror get out, or whoever's inside the mirror get out. But it doesn't tell you that it wants to get out, so it kills you if you don't help it.
Which basically ensures it's going to stay in.
And it kills everybody. No, it kills everybody that yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing that never made any sense. Like, why would you kill the person who you want them to help?
Yeah.
And like, and like, so it kills it. I don't think it kills you right off. Well, it may have killed the first person.
You've definitely put more thought into this movie than the screenwriter.
I did because it when Kiefer Sutherland stumbles on it, it starts killing everybody that he loves. So it kills his girlfriend, his wife, whatever. I don't know what the fuck it was. But it kills all those people first, and then he's like, "Oh, I gotta find I gotta find, I gotta
There's no time.
Yeah, there's no time. I gotta torture this guy.
Let me see your hands.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's the whole.
Gotta torture this guy to get to the mirror.
Yeah. And so like that's what that movie's about. It's killer mirror, and then and it gets pissed off if you don't help it, but it doesn't tell you that it needs help. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. And then the movie Oculus came out not too long after that, which was the same fucking thing, killer mirror. Then My Girl and My Girl 2 introduced us to Anna Klumsky.
I think I had the biggest crush on her of any of the girls on screen.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah,
just adorable. And and her character in this movie, it's not manic pixie dream girl. I know she's super young, but so was I. Like, she's just adorable. Like, she's somebody that you want to hang out with.
Yeah.
And Macaulay Culkin is fine.
What they're doing, right? They're a little too young for romance anyway, so they're just kind of hanging out, palling around. She is great on Veep. Like, she's grown up to be a great actress.
Yes.
A lot of the girls that in this era rose to fame in these kind of roles, a lot of them have stopped acting. But she's still out there, still rocking it.
Yeah.
I would like to see her in more than just Veep, though. I love her in Veep, but it seems like she's not. She was in the other in the loop.
In the loop.
Yeah, she was in that, which was also the guy who started Veep or whatever wrote that. But I would like to see her in a lot more stuff, and maybe she just wants to do a little bit of things, not like a lot, but.
Well, because we've mentioned In the Loop and Veep right back to back, I'll go ahead and tell you I saw Death of Stalin the other day.
Oh yeah.
Have you guys seen that?
No.
Same guy, same writer director. So we're taking a humorous, somewhat fictional look at the immediate events of the committee after Stalin dies. Steve Buscemi's in this, and Jeffrey Tambor are the two big names. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, if you like In the Loop and Veep, it's every bit as good, if not better, than those.
Jessie Moulton, when she was on a long time ago, it was earlier this year. She recommended that too. Yeah. So I really wanted to watch it. It's
playing on Stars.
Oh yeah,
got to check it out.
Stars or Showtime, so you don't even need to wait for it. You can just go onto your on demand and watch it. But I've seen it probably 2.5 times in the last 3 or 4 days. Nice. It's really.
It
really
seems
good.
like it just from the trailers. It seems like it's right up my.
Yeah. It's Armando Iannucci is the guy that I'm trying to think of. That's part of all that.
Okay.
But yeah, circling all the way back to My Girl. That's.
It had a devastating ending for me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was supposed to.
Because Macaulay Culkin is in there too.
Yeah. But it's a really, really good coming of age story. Dan Aykroyd is really good in it as the dad. I loved it. I've watched My Girl too, but I don't really remember anything about it.
Yeah.
Just
same here.
Anna Klumsky continuing to be adorable.
Right. National Treasure.
Well, they have that. We can go quick because it's really just that one scene where they're
in the Liberty Hall. Yeah,
literally stealing.
Yeah.
Well, not stealing the glasses, and they're in.
Yeah.
They look at the bell. They pull the brick. They do the thing. They put on the glasses.
Am I crazy for loving this movie though?
No, it's all right. National Treasure. The first one's all right.
The first one's perfectly fine.
Okay.
I would even say I like it.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is
that's hot garbage.
Yeah, it's hot garbage.
Yeah. But there's something else. That's the thing. The ridiculous thing about National Treasure is, like, I think even in the Philadelphia one, there's like, they come up with this fact, and then Nicolas Cage always has this. Well, not back in this year.
Yeah.
You know, like there's always like it's always something like they figure it out. This is the fucking fact we need. And he's like, wait a minute, there's something else we got to be considering. You know, and it's like, Jesus. Only You. I don't remember much about this movie.
I almost brought this up when we were talking about Bed of Roses.
Yeah.
This is Robert Downey Jr. and Marissa Tomei, right?
Yes.
And they go to Europe. They go to Rome, Italy, someplace boring as fuck. Forgot it as soon as I walked out.
Honestly, so, because she thinks he's her soulmate or something like that, and I think she pursues him like to the ends of the earth.
That sounds
it starts
about
off
right.
in Philadelphia or
God,
Pennsylvania.
I barely even remember that at all. I remember the movie coming out.
This was right before Robert Downey Jr.'s like big relapse, I think. Right?
Well, yeah. Did he have a relapse? I'm pretty sure he was just going hard up until he stopped.
Well, there was a point where he was, in that Scott Weiland territory. We're like, oh, he's got to do something about this.
Yeah.
And then we think, oh, okay, well, he's gotten his rehab. He's good. And then he went right back into it.
Yeah.
So
And
I
that's
think
when he
had
went
at
to
least-
jail.
Yeah. I think he had at least one relapse in that whole thing.
This was 94, so it was maybe.
So it
around
would have been
that time.
before that for sure, because when he went to jail, that's when he filmed the sequel to The Fugitive.
Oh, U.S.
Oh,
Marshals.
yeah,
Marshals,
yeah.
because he got let out.
And U.S. Marshals
jail
was
to
like
film that.
98.
Yeah, so this would have been before all that.
Somewhere
But I'm
around
sure
there.
he was, I mean, without knowing the facts, wouldn't surprise me at all if he was doing a lot of drugs at the time of this filming.
Then we have obviously Philadelphia. Tom Hanks. This is an AIDS drama. Probably, I don't know. This is a really good movie. Like when you first hear Philadelphia, you think, okay, that's just depressing and whatever. This is about a man dying of AIDS and all that. But the movie is really well done.
Oh, sure,
It's
yeah.
a courtroom drama at its heart. But this is Tom Hanks' probably best performance ever, for sure. This is the only time you watch Tom Hanks and you don't think Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm.
Even Forrest Gump is Tom Hanks, really.
Mm-hmm.
This is a completely different character for him. Just a really well done movie. Jason Robards. You have Antonio Banderas.
Oh yeah, he plays his boyfriend, right?
Yeah, plays his boyfriend. And there's Saturday Night Live had a Philadelphia action figures commercial or whatever. You could even play his longtime lover Miguel.
I actually had this soundtrack because
I
it's
did
not
too.
just the Springsteen stuff. There's like a Neil Young song on there.
And it's actually got one of my favorite Springsteen. The Streets of Philadelphia is like definitely up there. I'm not a huge Springsteen fan, but
I'm not either. But that
it's
was
awesome.
written for the film, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say, but he has more than one song on the soundtrack too, if I remember right. But I remember that Neil Young song where he goes, "City of Brotherly Love."
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's also a Spin Doctor song.
what? There's also a Spin Doctor song. Excellent.
The Neil Young song is at the end of the credits. I think. I don't know if there's any. There may be another use of it, but it's the credits song.
interesting.
Yeah, that's an awesome movie. I would highly recommend Philadelphia.
It's got Spin Doctors covering Have You Ever Seen the Rain?
Oh,
really?
no, I remember thinking that. There was a brief period where the Spin Doctors were okay for me. And for everybody.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But Creedence has always been okay.
Yeah.
And so that convergence there, I think I remember being
I gotta
okay
listen
with
to
it.
that again. That's probably pretty
It's
good.
actually pretty straightforward cover.
Yeah. But I would highly recommend Philadelphia. Yes, has some depressing moments in it, but it's a highly charged courtroom
It's a
drama.
powerful.
Denzel Washington is phenomenal in this as well. I don't know if I mentioned him, but he's fantastic in it. Obviously, Rocky is a big. This is as iconic as it gets for
right.
Philadelphia, running up the library steps and he finally ran up that mountain, that hill or whatever, and he's ready to fight.
You know what's funny? A quick note about this, like in Philadelphia, you've got the steps and you've got the statue, and you see at the end of Rocky Balboa, you see all the people running up and like posing with the statue at the top of the steps. That statue is like behind a tree by the steps at the bottom.
Oh, really?
Actual thing.
Really?
I went by it. I was driving by and I was like, "Where's the statue?" And my buddy was like, "It's right there." And I'm like, "I see a tree," and he's like, "It's behind the tree."
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like life size, so it's like 4'9" or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So is that? Do they unveil that in Rocky 3? Or is
Yeah, it's Rocky 3.
It's Rocky 3 where they unveil.
Yeah, because
that.
that's where Clubber comes up to him and starts like berating him.
Yeah, the Rocky 3 is so ridiculous. Like a lot of those Rockies are obviously ridiculous, but Rocky 3 is like a height of 80s excess type movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's no longer just like like a guy from Philadelphia or anything. He's like full LA'd it up in Rocky 3.
Yeah, he's fighting Thunderlips in
He's
the
got
fucking.
he's at his own like unveiling in sunglasses and all that. He's a celebrity at this point, and like all the like his house is ridiculous, and like he's buying robots for his son for birthday.
I'll watch, but I mean, 5. I think we all believe doesn't happen. I'll watch any of these Rocky movies and be entertained, including 2. I think 2 gets short shrift.
Yep.
3 is a little bit ridiculous, but it does have some drama because it's the first time he does get beat. 4 is so over the top that it's just endlessly watchable. And then, man, I'm on board for Balboa, for Creed. I haven't seen Creed 2 yet.
I haven't either.
But those are terrific movies. So I'm really, anytime they come out with one of these things, I'm down.
Yeah.
Actually, this might make you happy or sad, but I did see a headline yesterday that said Michael B. Jordan is totally cool with Clubber Lang's son for Creed 3.
I'd probably be down with it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we just did the son of Rocky. We just did the son of a Rocky opponent in Creed 2.
Ivan Drago.
So if Creed 3 is the son of a different Rocky opponent, now we're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I think you can find. I mean, because did you ever watch Rocky Balboa? Did you ever see?
No, I haven't seen any of them since 4.
Okay. Did you see Rocky Balboa? They had a really compelling character in this, Mason the Lion Dixon.
Yeah.
That had like a nice backstory. Reminded me a little bit of Apollo Creed, but he wasn't like a cartoon villain, which I don't think Creed was in the first place either. It had some nuance to him, so you can keep doing that. You don't have to go back to Clubber Lang. I don't necessarily mind if you do that, but there are more fascinating things.
I'm just saying, in real life, is Mike Tyson's son rising up the boxing ranks right now, getting ready to fight Holyfield's son?
No, that would be funny.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, there's not a lot of that going on.
Although somewhere out there, Holyfield's son's probably an avid listener. He's like, bring it! I'm ready!
Yeah. But I think Rocky, the first one, really does make Philadelphia a character.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Like everything else, it's just kind of, all right, well, he's from Philadelphia. But that first one, they even make a point, like Apollo makes a point, like, the birthplace of America right here and all that, and on the 4th of July. And so like, and just, you see a lot of the streets of Philadelphia and everything, and it's really kind of a character in that. But the other ones, kind of like, okay, he's from Philadelphia, whatever. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Another great movie.
Such a good movie.
Yeah. I was not expecting much from it,
I wasn't either.
but it turned out to be a wonderful movie.
I think because Emma Watson, this was maybe like her first. Did she do the Bling Ring before or after this?
I think it's after.
So this was really her like coming out party after Harry Potter, I think.
Yeah.
And she nailed it. I think she really nailed it.
Based on a book?
Yes.
I've never seen this, but I've always heard good things.
She is great, but Ezra Miller steals the fucking movie.
Yeah, he does. Bling Ring came after.
Okay.
But yeah, Ezra Miller and Logan Lerman, who's really the only thing I had really seen him in was Percy Jackson and stuff like that. You don't really get to know what he's about. He's really good in that as
He's got to play a very complex character too, because he's almost, if you make a parallel with Adam Sandler's character in Punch Drunk Love, where he's keeping all this stuff in. He's bottling it's anxiety in his case. You would love this movie. I think it would be right up your alley. And then when it comes out, the aftermath of it is devastating to him. And he's got to kind of build himself back up afterwards. And I think it's towards the end of the movie, or they replay it, where they have that iconic scene of them standing up in the car, and you just feel it's almost like a Jesse thing at the end of Breaking Bad. You just feel like all the weight being lifted off. This is a really good movie. I'm about to get emotional about this.
Yeah. School Ties. I still haven't seen School Ties.
Really?
Wow.
Brendan Fraser?
I don't think you're ever going to.
Probably not.
You might as well just skip it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is inferior to Dead Poet Society in every way.
It is.
It deals with racial elements that aren't there in Dead Poet Society. With I think his character's Jewish.
Yeah,
anti-Semitism going on. You get a blink and you miss it cameo from, I think, Matt Damon in this. And John
Matt Damon
Favreau.
is the main antagonist.
Matt Damon actually has lines.
I think there's a Ben Affleck cameo in there.
Yeah, there is, because later on, after they became big, the School Ties video box started showing Damon and Affleck like as big characters.
But the whole thing is about Brendan Fraser being like a gifted athlete and scholar, and because he's Jewish, he is looked on differently.
Okay. Then there's She's Out of My League, which is the Alice Eve, Jay Baruchel.
Do you like this movie?
Yeah, I've actually seen it a couple of times.
Jay Baruchel's just super charming.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've disliked him in anything, but almost everything he's got a good picker too, because most of the things he shows up, like How to Train Your Dragon, and I mean, it just seems like he has a good.
I mean,
It's now.
never once do I believe for any minute that Alice Eve is in love with Jay Baruchel,
Agreed.
but I still like the movie and everything.
That's the premise, right?
It is the premise. And, this stuff does happen. I mean, there's
Like Marissa Tomei and Joe Pesci and My Cousin Vinny.
Exactly. But, I mean, in real life, you'll go out sometimes and go, how did she end up with him?
You were out with me and my wife yesterday. Probably thought the same thing.
Oh, yeah. I was like the whole movie. I couldn't even, I was so distracted. But no, it's mainly about his insecurity as he's dating this just gorgeous woman and everything, and he thinks that she's always just looking for something better, and that's sort of the crux of it. He's like, at first he's like, cool, I can't believe I'm going out with Alice Eve, and then like it starts to, because the movie has to have a conflict. He's I don't know, she's probably looking for somebody better than me. She's out of my league.
Yeah, roll credits.
Yeah. But it's a decently funny movie. Silver Linings Playbook, David O. Russell movie, Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper, damaged people getting together.
Yeah, and I think you guys are right. I think maybe you brought this up earlier that it seems to wrap up a little too nicely at the end, and I think you're right.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie, but there's something about it that doesn't make me want to go back, and because it's right up my alley in terms of content, and it's played very well, but there's something about it that I don't want to keep going back to it.
Yeah, Sinister. This is Scott Derrickson directing. This is a really good horror movie.
I love this movie.
There's something about it, like it's not found footage, but the found footage in the movie is so terrifying.
It really is creepy as hell.
There's something I've always talked about this with horror movies, about how a lot of horror movies look too good, and I don't get in the kind of the headspace that I need to get into because everything looks so pretty around it. Sinister manages to do that with these 8mm films that Ethan Hawke runs into, and they all happen to be snuff films essentially. And each one is just the way they're shot and everything, with all the grain and the scratches and all the jumps and everything like that, really gets you, and no sound.
Yeah.
Really build the mood for that movie a lot. And they're all like, just like, if you had stumbled on this, it would be the scariest fucking thing that you've ever run across. We've talked.
Have you seen Sinister 2?
I've not seen
with
Sinister
Shannon
2.
Sossaman.
I have not seen Sinister 2.
Oh,
I have.
Is it good?
I have nothing to report.
Yeah.
It came and went and did not linger any in my brain.
Well, and it's the cop from the first one who's like the main guy in this one, isn't it?
That was the vibe I got.
Yeah, because at the end of the first Sinister, he's trying to like warn Ethan Hawke about what's going on and everything, and then so I guess he's the only like true believer by the end of it, and
I love the reveal on this.
Yeah, the reveal on this is really good. Like,
it's scary visually, but also conceptually.
Yeah. It's I wish the ending was a little bit different from what it ended up being.
You mean the very, very end?
Very end.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
But the ride up to this is the opposite of The Village, right? Where the ending doesn't have the ride getting to the ending is amazing and everything. And this is probably one of my favorite horror movies that have come out in the last 10 years.
I'd say so too.
Yeah. Sprung, which is Rusty Cundiff, who did A Fear of a Black Hat.
Yeah.
I never saw this movie though. I think this is supposed to be very bad.
It is. It's a sex comedy in the late 80s, early 90s.
No, it was late 90s
as well.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it one night, and I thought it was kind of funny. Just worth mentioning because it's outside of Pittsburgh, I think.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Stigmata.
Yeah.
Another one of those 1999 horror movies.
I got wounds in my palms.
Have you watched?
I got wounds in my palms and they won't go. Stigmata in my palms and they won't go.
Have you watched this since it came out?
No. Just like End of Days and every other bullshit wannabe, skeezy, satanic mainstream movie that came out in the late 90s.
This was Gabriel Byrne. Was it Patricia Arquette that
Yes.
was in this? Yeah. And is it Patricia Arquette that's getting the stigmata?
Yes.
She's
Yeah.
getting the stigmata.
Yeah, she's getting
it. She's come down with a case of stigmata.
and the vapors.
I got the stigmata.
They should have used that in The Wire for a name of the drugs. Stigmata! WMDs! Got your stigmata here.
Stigmata wasn't very good. Sudden Death.
Now, this movie was on 2 nights ago.
Oh, shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, I love it no less. I love it more than ever. You might have seen my tweet about the red pepper flakes.
Yeah.
I do believe it is the first and only time in cinematic history, action movie history, where red pepper flakes have been used to sway the tide of the battle. Because he notices her eyes inside the mouth of the penguin. And she realizes he knows my eyes are vulnerable. And her eyes go, whoop, and get really wide. And then it cuts to a shot of him grabbing the pepper flakes. And then I almost cut frame for frame in those 3 pictures I uploaded. He's like shaking the pepper flakes in the giant penguin's mouth. Powers Booth is in this movie, acting as though he really is a terrorist. Like, he doesn't act like he's in a movie at all. The kids are runty and obnoxious. The twists of who's actually evil all along are seen a mile away. He does fucking end up in goal.
Yep.
And I noticed this time around, he has to run off goal because the fucking bad guys with guns are looking for him and see him on the ice. They can see through the goalie mask and tell that's that fireman we're supposed to be looking for. And so they start running after him. So he leaves the ice and runs down the hall. Thank God at that very moment, the team's real goalie is uninjured enough to go back in the game. And no one in the stands is any the wiser that they've had a fake goalie for. God, this movie is so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's trash, but it is trash that you can snuggle up to. I just fucking love it.
Wow.
Sudden Death, baby.
I got to check it out again.
Die Hard. It's so Die Hard. His name, I can't remember now. It's McCoy or McCourt or it's like so close to McLean, it's not even funny.
Yes, Darren McCord.
Anyway, it's Die Hard in a hockey arena, and if that doesn't sound fun to you, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Taking Lives. This is Angelina Jolie, right?
It is, and Ethan Hawke.
I saw this. I don't remember a fucking thing.
I don't remember much about it, but goddamn, are they pretty?
Yeah.
They're both very attractive.
FBI profiler is called in by French Canadian police to catch a serial killer who takes on the identity of each new victim. Is Ben Kingsley in this?
No, isn't that Selfless that you're thinking about?
No. Kiefer Sutherland's in this. There's a movie with Ben Kingsley where he's a serial killer, and he is trying to make a point.
Sneakers?
Yeah. Look,
Gandhi.
Yeah, it's Gandhi. It's Gandhi. I totally forgot that there was that serial killer subplot. Suspect Zero. Anyway, Taking Lives, I've seen it, but I don't remember anything about it.
Me too.
Yeah. I watched all those type of movies, and God, I don't remember anything. That Thing You Do.
That thing you do. The Wonders.
Yeah.
They start out in Pennsylvania, small Pennsylvania town, and they hook into that for the first 30 minutes or so, because when Kevin Pollak is on stage as the Mattress King announcing their first show, he keeps referencing all the Pennsylvania towns. We got the Pittsburghs from Pittsburgh. But then, they go on the state fair tour, and it ends up being an L.A. movie by the time it's done. One of my very, very favorite movies. Probably seen it 40, 50 times.
Yeah.
So good.
I've
Good
seen
shit.
it a lot too, and but yeah, it's really well done. I don't know. Do you run across a bunch of people who like this movie?
No, the people that I seem to find who like this movie are people like me that were at one point in a band that tried to make it big and either had no success or just fleeting success. That's who all the guys that I was in a band with in the late 90s loved this movie. And we all watched it together over and over. And then we would practice our shitty songs that got us nowhere.
Yay.
Well, I've never been in a band, but I really did like this movie a lot. It had a horrible marketing campaign, and I've talked about this before, where the attached trailer on Independence Day was that thing you do. And it just doesn't... when you watch that trailer just before you're about to watch sci-fi alien crap, like, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
The Master of Disguise, that's the Dana Carvey movie.
Yeah.
I never saw this. Yeah, that's basically all I remember.
That's all I remember. I
tell
never
you-
saw the movie, and I quote that regularly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's it reminds you of how talented Dana Carvey was and is, and like how popular he was when he did Opportunity Knocks and stuff like that, and how great his impressions are and that kind of thing. And you could tell like he's still hanging on to that Bush, maybe not anymore, but that Bush, the first Bush impression. He's got some new ones, but they're not quite as good. But this is fun. It's a silly movie, but it's fun.
Yeah. Trapped in Paradise. We've talked about this before for whatever reason.
Okay, last week, I believe, when we were talking Christmas movies, I mentioned, I like this more than most. And lo and behold, it came on TV. I watched it again. It's not very good.
Yeah. Is it Nicolas Cage, right?
Nicolas Cage, it's three brothers, Nicolas Cage, John Lovitz, and Dana Carvey.
Oh, yeah?
And Dana Carvey, out of all three of those people, is the one that's playing the bumbling idiot, stupid brother. I would think Lovitz or Nicolas Cage could handle that role a lot better. But Dana Carvey's the one who's like, oh, I'm going to go into confession. Like that, all his lines are like, redneck jokes, basically. It's not a good movie. I don't know why. I thought last week that I enjoyed it more than most, and I would steer you away from
But
it.
it is a movie that people bring up still a lot.
It does have Richard Jenkins in it as the main cop who's pursuing the bank robbery suspects, and he's so fed up with being in this tiny town during a snowstorm.
Yeah.
He's really angry about it.
United 93 is it's an excellent movie. Very intense. Paul Greengrass at his best and everything. Obviously, you wish that the movie didn't have to exist. But it is about the flight that ended up crashing in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
This is how you make a movie about sensitive matter that's not Oliver Stone's World Trade Center or something like that.
Well, I am really fucking worried about this movie called Brexit with Benedict Cumberbatch in it.
Yeah.
Like, it seems way too fucking soon for us
It
to even
is.
really know what happened.
You don't have all the knowledge to make this movie.
And that movie's not possibly going to be sensitive.
And the same goes for the last one he was in about Julian Assange.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, the Fifth Estate.
Yeah. That's another one that you don't have all the facts in yet to make that movie.
Too soon.
But United 93, one of those, it's a recommend as far as, if you can handle it type of movies.
You should probably watch it just once.
Yeah, it is.
And you'll be rewarded.
It's made almost documentary style. That's how intense that movie is. The War of the Roses, that's Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, Danny DeVito. I think DeVito directed this.
He did.
It's a black comedy about a married couple who are doing a bunch of fucked up shit to each other.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing. Everybody knows somebody that's been through a bad breakup where you've seen them at their peak, where they're so in love and they're so perfect and everything. And then they just turn to where they literally want to kill each other. And they can't be in the same room with each other. Like, they hate that person.
Yeah.
And this takes that to the extreme, and it's delightful.
And
Go ahead.
there's a part too where Kathleen Turner gives Michael Douglas something to eat, and he starts eating it, and she basically implies it's the family dog.
Yeah.
And then of course later they find out it's not the dog. But anyway, it's one of those type of movies.
I was just going to say, I think love and hate are flip sides of the same coin. I think that's why when divorces happen, you see so much anger very often, is that the feelings don't go away and they're super powerful. But you've made a decision consciously not to be in love with this person anymore, so they turn to negative, passionate emotions.
No, I agree. And this is another movie that you just don't see very often. Like a black comedy about divorce.
These are hard sells.
I guess so, yeah.
Because people, in general, people don't get black comedy because it seems too serious. It seems too on the other side. I don't find that type of thing funny. And so a lot of these things went out of favor after a while, like around this time. Even though War of the Roses was, I think, a decent hit, they stopped making. Anytime they make black comedies now, it's very hard sell.
Yeah,
it's a very hard sell. Witness. This is Peter Weir, Harrison Ford, Kelly McGillis, and Lucas Haas. Lucas Haas got nominated for this, I think.
Oh, did he really?
I think he got nominated for an Oscar for this.
Harrison Ford did too, right?
No, he's only been nominated once. Oh, it was Witness.
This is the one.
Yeah,
right?
it was the one. It was Witness. But it's a murder mystery in Amish country, and Harrison Ford has to do his investigation, which is, I guess I haven't seen it in forever, but I guess it's he runs into issues with the Amish country and asking questions and stuff like that. I don't remember all that.
Remember that Seinfeld where he wanted to break up with her because of the lopper?
Yeah.
He waited too long arguing. The lopper was outside, so they stayed together, and he ended up having to go to Pennsylvania Dutch country after all.
He got a hat and everything.
Yeah, and they're sitting because she's in the store. And she comes out with like a pilgrim hat for him. Yeah. Pennsylvania Dutch country.
We've been breaking up for 9 hours.
Lucas Haas was not nominated for an Oscar, but he's the main, sort of the main part of this. He's the one who witnessed. Yes, he's the witness of the murder. Then there is Wonder Boys, another Michael Douglas movie. This one was set in Carnegie.
Yeah, Carnegie
Mellon. Yeah.
Yeah, I have praised it before in previous podcasts. It's hilarious. It's got some moments of drama, and everybody shines. All the actors get to shine. Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic. He may be the best thing in the movie. Michael Douglas carries it. Katie Holmes is great. Tobey Maguire is great. Alan Tudyk.
Two actors who have had love scenes before in movies: Robert Downey Jr. and Tobey Maguire, with Tropic Thunder added.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Interesting. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Satan's Alley.
Frances McDormand is in this.
Yep. Frances McDormand's the girl that Michael Douglas is cheating on her husband with, or
yes,
yeah. He's not married in this, I don't think. Right?
He's recently separated or recently divorced. Yeah, no, his wife left and went back to her parents because he and Toby go up there, and Toby gets high and eats donuts and watches old movies. Actually, he's watching Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
Nice. It's that good morning.
Wonder Boys is fantastic. High recommend there. And then Zach and Miri Make a Porno. This was Kevin Smith sort of trying to get into the Judd Apatow, sort of ride that Judd Apatow wave, but make it more Kevin Smith with the porno stuff and everything. Two friends, Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks, decide to make a porno to try to get money because they're not making enough. They can't even get to keep the lights on in their apartment.
Yep.
And so they hire people to be in their porno, but at the coffee shop at night,
right.
Totally unauthorized type of thing. The funniest part about this to me is Seth Rogen trying to convince Elizabeth Banks that they need to do this. And he's like, if I found out that friends from my high school were in a porno, I would pay $20 for that, But yeah, it's, there's all the problems of men and women being in friendships and trying to mix sex, and even in porno sex or whatever, the pratfalls, I guess, of all that and everything. Them actually falling in love and then making it weird and stuff like that.
I think the number one rule of porno is don't fall in love.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely.
That's the disclaimer on every video that you watch.
This movie doesn't quite get there, does it?
It doesn't. It's got funny moments in it, for sure.
The Justin Long scene is my favorite, where he shows up as the gay porn star.
That's at the reunion in the beginning. His voice is 6 octaves too low.
Yeah.
That's the only scene he's in.
The part that I keep thinking of is in the outtakes, and that's not funny at all. When he's talking in the outtakes.
Justin Long?
Yeah, Justin Long.
Oh, I haven't seen the outtakes.
Yeah, there's outtakes at the end.
I changed the channel. I didn't know that.
But I've forgotten the reunion stuff.
It was what was the name of the movie that you were in? Open your mouth and shove in my cock.
Yeah.
Part 3.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got moments in it for sure.
Yes.
The ones that Barrett hasn't seen will run down. Blowout, great movie. Brian De Palma, John Travolta. It's sort of it's a quote unquote De Palma remake of a movie called Blow Up that came out in the 60s. I say De Palma remake in that it's not really an official remake, but it's got elements of the other movie in it that he's been inspired by it. Kind of like how Psycho is inspired, like he's inspired by Psycho in Dress to Kill and stuff like that. Like they're not real straight remakes, but they obviously have the influence and everything. But Blowout, Travolta is a photographer or he's a filmmaker. I can't remember if it's camera or if it's just still pictures or if it's film, but takes pictures of this car that falls off of a ravine or whatever, and he gets obsessed with the whether it's a murder or not and all this other type of stuff, and it's really good. I'm not doing it service, but it's really, really well done. Boys on the Side, I believe that's a Drew Barrymore movie. Is it Mary Louise Parker's in this, I think?
Oh, no, wait, that was Riding in Cars with Boys. Boys on the Side, you're right. That was Whoopi, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoopi and Drew and Mary
Louise Parker?
Louise.
Yeah. I don't remember anything about it. Was it any good?
Non-lesbian girls trip. Boys are bad.
Okay.
Chris O'Donnell's in that? Somebody hunky's in there at the end. Don't look it up. It's not worth it. Let's move on.
Chuck, 2016 sports movie. Dude inspired Rocky?
Yeah. Oh, this is crazy. It's Liev Schreiber. So Liev Schreiber is playing this guy Chuck.
Oh, I watched part of this.
Chuck Webner,
okay.
Who fought Muhammad Ali, and he was like this small town boy and like the local champion and everything. And I think got his ass kicked by Ali, but he inspired the Rocky thing. Like this is what inspired Stallone to do Rocky. And it's got Liev Schreiber, it's got Naomi Watts, Elizabeth Moss, Michael Rappaport. Like it's got some good people in it.
Wow. Concussion, Will Smith, Concussions Are Bad movie, NFL.
Yep. Albert Brooks.
Yeah. I've heard mixed things about this movie. That it doesn't go far enough, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't. The movie's not anywhere near as good as Albert Brooks and Will Smith are. I don't think it's worth watching, but I enjoyed it enough.
Creep Show, we briefly touched on that. It's a Romero movie. This is the anthology film.
I think Stephen King wrote the screenplay, but I don't think it's based on a book.
No, King wrote this as an original screenplay, and he's actually in it. He's the farmer who finds the meteor shit.
Oh, nice.
And he has his own little segment in it, but it's an anthology film, and yes, he was definitely doing that at the time. The Crossing, 2000 Jeff Daniels movie, Washington Crossing the Delaware.
Yep. He plays George Washington.
Okay.
And he crosses the Delaware.
Sweet. And it took 2 hours?
It did. No, they had to have like an hour and a half of discussion before he crossed the Delaware. The English Teacher, Julianne Moore, Greg Kinnear. I have not seen this.
It's like The English Patient, only with no adultery.
Yeah. Yep.
No, I've never seen it.
Eye of the Beholder, Ewan McGregor, Ashley Judd movie. I have seen this, but I don't remember a thing about it.
It's like a stalker movie, isn't it? I remember this coming out.
Yeah, I think it was a stalker movie.
It's probably also like an eye transplant movie. You have a serial killer's eye.
This is one of those. I think this was the sort of the end of the Ashley Judd era. There was Eye of the Beholder, because after that she might have been in like High Crimes or something like that. And it was
there were eyes, there were beholders.
Yes. This came out the same year as Double Jeopardy, I think. Eye of the Beholder. Then there's Fences, Denzel Washington, Viola Davis. Really good movie, really good. I mean, it's more of a play than it's a movie, but this is just a performance film. Really, really good performances. If you want to see Denzel at his best, and Viola Davis, who will make you cry. She's so good.
I really want to see this.
She won the Oscar for this. Final Destination 3. Holy shit.
Jesus.
Final
this
Destination
is the one
3.
with Mary Elizabeth
Winstead is in this
yeah.
one. This is the amusement park one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same shit in all the other Final Destinations, except it's an amusement park happens. The Florentine. Don't know anything about this.
Yeah, it's an ensemble movie that actually looks pretty good. It's got Jeremy Davies, Virginia Madsen, Mary Stuart Masterson, Michael Madsen, everybody that has Mads.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen. Foxcatcher, the Steve Carell, Channing Tatum movie, where he's trying to coach the U.S. Olympic wrestling team or whatever, and there's a murder that happens.
Is it good?
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. I mean,
liked it.
You liked
yeah, I think it's good. What is it about it that I don't like? I can't remember what it was.
Was it
But
the makeup?
well, that is
The
kind of
makeup
distracting.
is really distracting.
That is kind of distracting. But Steve Carell's really good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a decent movie. God's Pocket.
This
John
was-
Slattery directed it.
This has to be, I believe, the last Philip Seymour Hoffman movie, if it wasn't the Hunger Games one, like right before he died. And it has a bunch of Mad Men. I think it's got Christina Hendricks in it.
Oh, okay.
And got pretty good reviews. I'd like to watch it. I hope he wasn't Philip Seymour Hoffman. I hope he wasn't like on the sauce when it was filming.
I
this,
got
but
one hand in God's pocket.
that's
Yeah.
the theme.
One is giving him a peace sign.
Yes. Grudge Match, which was a movie that came out recently. Stallone, De Niro, old men boxing movie. I never saw it.
No.
I don't think anybody saw this movie, right?
Nope.
No.
I don't
I
don't
even
even
think
remember
Stallone
it.
and De Niro saw it.
It came out and then
I thought
like
for
within a
sure
week.
they didn't really play up the Rocky versus Raging Bull
I know.
aspect of this, but yeah, not that it really had much of a chance anyway. I don't think. Then there is Lorenzo's Oil. I think that was Nick Nolte.
Yeah, it's where he had to like save his kid, like get a thing. But it wasn't Desperate Measures where he had to break out Michael Keaton and get his organs.
Right.
All right.
It's Lorenzo's Oil.
It was an Oscar bait movie back
It
in
was?
the day. I can't remember what all it got nominated for, but The Lovely Bones, which is just
fuck.
awful. The book is good.
I was going to say, write the book if you want. There's absolutely no reason to make a movie out of this.
Well, the thing is about the book is, and this is why it was considered sort of an unfilmable thing, was that it's from the dead girl's perspective all the way through. So to make a movie, you either have to do narration all the way through, and nothing about this is right. Peter Jackson directing this doesn't seem right, and the execution of this movie is
Not good, huh?
and when they come and tell Marky Mark that his daughter's dead, and he's
Yeah.
like, no!
right, yeah,
No!
yeah, you
What?
might-
No!
Oh my God. Lucky Numbers. God, I know I saw this. John Travolta, Lisa Kudrow. It's some lottery movie.
I remember this coming out. I never saw it.
I saw it.
It
but
looks so much like Smoking Aces to me, I just skipped it.
This is about like an actual thing, though.
I don't
Like a Pennsylvania lottery scandal scam. Ab scam, Jerry.
Wait, did you say Lucky Numbers?
Lucky
Yes.
Numbers.
I thought you said Lucky Number 11.
No,
that was
that
that's
one
a whole
reminded
different-
me of Smoking Aces.
yes.
Well, Lucky Number 11's good.
Well, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you should see it.
Lucky Numbers, I have seen. It's the gal from Friends, Lisa Kudrow,
Yeah.
and John Travolta, and it's perfectly watchable. Not very good,
Okay.
but yeah, it is based on a true story. He like owns like a boat and ski-doo shop or something, and has some kind of scam going there that falls through and needs money in a hurry, so he decides to rig the lottery. He's like the weatherman, I think.
Ah.
Marnie is a Hitchcock movie I've never seen. It's got Tippi Hedren and Sean Connery in it.
Yeah, man. Gotta watch this.
Yeah, and it's very possible it's one of those forgettable Hitchcocks that I watched and I just don't remember much about it. But it came out on towards the end of his being great. I think it was like 64. Like he may have just come out with The Birds and then this came out or something like that. But Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. I never saw this movie. I've never read the book.
Yeah, I don't know. And it was a thing, a minor thing when it came out.
Yeah,
but-
Olivia Cook's in it. I know. And I know that when Jeremy was doing his signing for the Ables, the guy who wrote the book was to our left. But
Jesse Andrews?
Jesse Andrews.
Oh, cool.
He had a huge line.
And that was probably the most heavily marketed book in that whole con that we walked in and there was like a 3-story banner for me, Earl, and Diane and Pearl or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen it?
No. We talked about The Next 3 Days, which actually was, guess what? Was that?
In Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh.
Jesus. Well, there's nothing Pennsylvania about it from my memory. Maybe the tennis ball unlocking a card trick is unique to Pennsylvania.
But Jeremy talked about that a couple of podcasts ago. Out of the Furnace, I've still never seen this. Christian Bale, Woody Harrelson, Casey Affleck.
I've seen it. It's forgettable.
Is it really? It's got so many good people.
Yeah, but so does Father's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I watched it, it felt like a straight to video. I don't know if it did, but it felt like one of those that they got done and were like, this cannot be theatrical release. It's terrible. Throw it out on TBS or some shit.
Yeah. The Philadelphia Story, classic movie. I've seen it. This is a movie I didn't like too much.
Really?
Yeah. Katharine Hepburn, Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant seems like a slam dunk, and it probably is, but when I watched it, I was like, what's the big fucking deal about this movie?
It's a big fucking deal, though, right? Like
It is. It's one of those
classic,
all-time classic movies,
Yeah.
but when I watched it, I didn't feel the same magic as all the critics apparently have. So I'm ashamed to say that movie didn't connect. I'm sure it's a bunch of people's out there favorite movie, and I'm shitting all over it, but I didn't like it. Prisoners, Denis Villeneuve movie, really good, really good movie.
You seen this?
Yes.
God damn, I gotta see this.
It's good.
I need to do what you did and just do a Denis Villeneuve fest because he's killing me. He's killing me with everything, man. Did he release? He did Blade Runner 2049. Was that last year or this year? That was last year.
Last year.
And whatever else he's doing, I'm on board, man.
He's doing Dune.
Is he actually going to do Dune?
He's actively doing Dune.
Oh god damn, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
But yeah, Prisoners is good. It's a really, I mean, compared to like Arrival and Blade Runner and everything, it's a really small movie.
Sure.
But very well done. Love it. Then there's rock star Mark Wahlberg. Keeps showing up, man.
And he's not even from Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's from Boston.
He's from Boston.
But yeah, it's he's a rock star, and he's going out with Jennifer Aniston.
This is loosely based on what happened with Judas Priest, where their lead singer left, and a fan was so good at sounding like the lead singer, they hired him to tour with them and become their new lead singer. And that was much like In and Out took Tom Hanks' Oscar speech and turned it into a movie. Somebody took that nugget of an idea and fictionalized it in this movie.
Interesting.
But it is about as PG as a behind the scenes of a rock tour in the 80s could be.
Yeah.
Like it's so inoffensive, it's offensive.
Right.
Oh, dear God.
Like there should be more fucking coke being snorted and fucking going on behind stage, and it's not. It's nothing. It's like a TV movie version of what a rock tour would be.
Yeah, isn't this like maybe a Disney movie even? I don't know. I can't even remember like how they. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's exactly what
it
Jeremy
does
says.
open on that scene with him and Jennifer Aniston singing in the church choir, and they're singing Hallelujah, and then Mark Wahlberg goes Hallelujah. Just like the heavy metal Hallelujah.
Then there's a movie called Safe. There's a more famous Safe that has Julianne Moore in it, but this is the Jason Statham. I've never seen this either. Screwed, which has Danny DeVito, and this is the one
Got a bunch of comedians.
This is the one that part where the lady's like, "Who cares?" But I don't remember too much about Screwed. There was like two Danny DeVito movies that came out in the same year, 2000. Screwed and some other one. They were almost similar, and I get them all.
Dirty Work? He's not in Dirty Work.
No.
But this one has Norm Macdonald and Dave Chappelle. And
yeah.
Sarah Silverman, Sherman Hemsley.
Yep.
Elaine Stritch is in this.
Elaine Stritch is the one who does the "Who cares?" But it was in what was the other one in 2000? Drowning Mona was the other one. Yeah, and I don't remember Screwed being very good. Smart People. I don't know anything about that one.
Got me.
I don't even associate with smart people. Striking Distance. Holy crap.
Wow.
Bruce Willis. Was it,
This is Boat Cops. He's a boat cop.
Nice.
There's even a chase scene where he is in a boat chasing a car that's on the road.
Oh, okay.
I've seen this movie more than I would care to admit.
Because it happens in Pittsburgh, right?
I guess that's probably. They have enough water there
They
to have
got
boat cops.
rivers. They got 3 rivers.
But I do believe it's one of those things like The Wire where, and with McNulty, where he's been busted down to boat cop. That's literally all I remember. That, and it was terrible. I would never encourage you to watch it.
Striking.
Up Close and Personal, Robert Redford, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Ditto. Don't ever watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, this came out, I think in 98, or no, was it 96? Can't remember which one it was, but it had a Celine Dion song in it.
Uh-huh.
Which one was it?
Up Close and Personal.
No. It was I think it was the
Nothing's going to stop us now.
yeah, it's nothing gonna stop us now.
Because you love
Because
me.
you love me. That one, yeah.
Because you love me.
And then Warrior, I don't have any descriptors on that.
That's the Tom Hardy,
Nick Nolte.
Okay.
Joel Edgerton movie.
I have seen this.
Fantastic.
It is a
You
great
like it?
movie.
I loved it. It's I just made fun of a movie for being inoffensive, but this is a family film somehow.
Really?
About bitter brothers of a drunk father doing MMA in a tournament where they end up fighting each other.
Ah.
And there's some subplots here and there. But the best scene in my book is there's a scene about 2/3 of the way through, because for a while Tom Hardy's character is using a different name. And so even though he knows, the world doesn't know that Joel Edgerton's his brother. But as the tournament progresses, they have this scene out on the sand. I guess it's taking place, it says Pennsylvania, but they're on some kind of beach, like Atlantic City for this tournament or something maybe. And they just have it out. The two brothers who haven't seen each other in years, who both grew up with this terrible Nick Nolte dad, and have these complete opposite perspectives on life and how to go about work. And they're both kind of right and they're both kind of wrong. God, I really like this movie.
Nolte was nominated for an Oscar for this movie.
And that's okay. He doesn't have much to do. It's the other two that
God,
really
I don't
carry
even
it.
remember that. Yeah, this movie's really good. I remember that. 8.2 on IMDb.
Wow.
So,
Wow, I didn't realize that
everybody else in the
liked it.
world thinks it's good too. It went completely unwatched when it came out.
Yeah.
The whole thing takes place in Pittsburgh except for Atlantic City, which I guess is where
All right.
the boardwalk area
Yeah.
out there.
But Warrior is a huge recommend.
Yeah, me too.
And then finally, yes, The Office and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia are big TV shows that one's in Scranton, one's in Philly.
You can't stop watching The Office anytime it's on.
Yeah.
And it's got those weird blocks where it's like in between commercials if you are flipping around.
There's
like
one
it's
channel
on
that has it syncopated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'll start on The Office and I'll be like, well, I want to see how that reconciles. So I'll end up watching like 2 hours of it.
Yeah. But yeah, both of those shows are funny. It's always Sunny in Philadelphia can kind of get tiring after a while if you watch like a bunch in a row, but it's still funny. But that'll do it for this week. Keep going to SinCast presented by CinemaSins on Facebook, our CinemaSins Twitter, Reddit, SoundCloud. We got a lot of places to come and comment on this very episode. We also have a Patreon.
That's right. Hey, sign up for the Patreon. It's after the holidays, right? Like you want to start anew. You want to be a member of something. You want to be a part of something. Join Team CinemaSins.
New Year's resolution. Become a Patreon member. Get all of our content early before the masses.
Dude, that's no joke.
That's probably the biggest perk, I would think, is that at least 12 hours, sometimes as much as 24 hours ahead of public release, podcasts, videos on all our channels, you get it all. You also get a monthly Hangout video that's just us and Patreon members, and you also get a close to monthly piece of podcast content that only you Patreon members get. We're going to do another one of those next week. But we thank you all who have joined so far, and thanks for helping us make kick-ass content.
Yeah, that's right, baby.
Yep. That'll do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Sher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit CinemaSins.com.
Can I derail us immediately with, you said pork sandwich, and have either one of you guys ever had a fried breaded pork tenderloin sandwich?
Yeah, it's an Indiana staple.
I was going to say, okay, so here's the deal. I'm at this restaurant the other day with my wife. It's called Culver's.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently they come from Wisconsin or are based in Wisconsin. I don't know this. I see pork tenderloin sandwich on the menu, and I realize I used to eat that shit every week in the cafeteria at
Big
school.
things, right?
Yeah, it's like twice the size of the bun. Very little flavor. You throw some ketchup and mustard on there. Boom. And I was like, wow, when was the last time I had one of those? I can't fathom. So I ordered one. I ate it, and I have one of these ratatouille moments where it like takes me back, and I'm starting to go, why have I not seen these? So then we go to Kroger afterwards, and I'm looking left and right. I'm looking in the frozen section. I'm looking in the meat department. They don't carry any frozen breaded pork tenderloins. I go across the street to goddamn Publix. Now I'm obsessed. I look everywhere. They don't have them.
Nope.
I go to Google. Breaded pork tenderloins, Nashville, Tennessee. They show me Culver's on the map. And I'm like, what's going on? Finally, I do a deep dive, and it is an Indiana thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, Indiana and Iowa are the two places you find them most, and because of that, it has bled into central Illinois as well. And it's kind of a upper Midwest thing, but I didn't know this. In Indiana growing up, so from age 6 to time I went to college, I lived in Indiana. I'd have chicken patty one day, pork tenderloin the next day. You guys down in Tennessee would have chicken patty one day and something else. You weren't having pork tenderloin. It was a highly, highly localized, and for those of you who don't know, it's very similar to Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It's literally like a centimeter of meat. It's pounded out, so
Yeah.
and then it's just breaded and fried.
Yeah.
You're right. There's no taste to it, but it's got a distinct thing to it.
It's an experiential
Yeah.
kind. Anyway, I'm 43 years old, and I just learned that this thing that I used to eat that I forgot that I hadn't had recently that I had again was a highly localized Indiana thing, and now I'm obsessed. I've been to Culver's like twice since then because it's the only place around here I can get it.
You get cheese curds there too, man.
What?
You get cheese curds there
Oh
too.
man, everything there is good.
Butterburgers.
The fish is awesome there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Anyway, sorry for the derailment.
I
Pennsylvania,
haven't
it
even
is.
heard of this place or those sandwiches until now, and now all of a sudden I can think of nothing else.
There you go. You know what movie I saw last night? Again?
Ooh, what?
My Cousin Vinny.
Oh,
This is an adorable movie.
okay.
They don't make movies like that anymore, man. Just full-on hard R cursing, fucking, go for it performances, that kind of thing with strong character actors. I like those kinds of movies. I think that's why I like to analyze that so much, is that it didn't pussyfoot around, and also whole 9 yards. It didn't pussyfoot around like all the language and stuff like that. Like, it makes it funnier for Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei to have these just ridiculously foul mouths, and especially juxtaposed onto the Alabama people. It's a fun movie. It's a good
I haven't
movie.
seen it in ages. I remember liking it. That's really all I have to say about it.
It's really good. Now, it is really creepy. I don't even know how old Pesci was in 1992, but he is so much older than Marissa Tomei. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Especially because there's times where, like, they get snuggly and kiss and shit like that, and you got to think Marissa Tomei is like, yeah, making an Oscar for this. Just
I do know if not for this movie, we probably don't ever get Legally Blonde.
It's true. So true.
Both those movies end the exact same way.
well, all court comedies like this are in the same
But I mean,
way.
both those movies end with she's not really so much that she's learned about court. She just happens to have expertise about this one minute subject that they're discussing in court.
No. He has put to the brilliance about Vinny is that
I'm not trying to attack my cousin Vinny.
no, the brilliance about it's two different things, because she does have an aha realization moment in Elle Woods in Legally Blonde. But and Vinny does have an aha moment too, but he has built himself as a character and actually has learned from the law and actually built a case. And the funny thing is, he has to circumvent that case, or he has to subvert it with that final evidence. He's like, well, the whole time I've been saying it's the exact same car and it's all this and all that. Is that right? And she's like, no, you're wrong. And he's, well, that proves my point in a different way. And it's a really well done. It's basically like a play, and you know how I feel about stuff
All
like
right.
that. It's good. You
Good
should
enough.
watch it again.
All right, well, you should.
Joe Pesci is
Watch.
49 in that movie, and Marissa Tomei is 28.
21 years. Did you all see that What Men Want trailer in front of your Bumblebee?
Yeah.
God damn. Like, whatever hope I had that movie was going to say something really smart and culturally relevant just went out the window.
At least there's no Mel that we know of.
that we know of.
God, that would suck. No, that looks horrible. We got some bad trailers, except for How to Train Your Dragon, which I'll probably see.
You know, but even that, I feel like they've kind of they waited a little too long, and now I would have cared 5 years ago. I like How to Train Your Dragon. That whole series is fun, but even that trailer, I was like, kind of feel like I know what's going to happen.
Yep.
They're going to find the place, the hidden place.
The hidden place, the hidden kingdom.
I mean, once you introduce a hidden place, a hidden world, it's like dry land. Well, Chekhov's land. Once you mention it, you got to show it to me.
It's not a myth. I've seen it.
While we're on that subject, with the pending Sins video for next week, Lily James sure is excellent to look at.
Yeah, she is.
That was the saving grace of having to watch and sing that movie.
I'm telling you guys, I bring her up all the time. I'm glad you guys finally caught up.
It took that movie. I'm used to seeing her in all these Cinderella dresses. And,
Yeah, she's a free spirit in that movie.
Yeah,
You can tell it was shot by a man versus the other one that was shot by a woman. There's a lot of ass in that.
Oh, God, that movie.
And all that stuff is like basting in there, and it's just like, you know, aim it at the wall or something like that.
Basting.
I'm just she's letting these dudes just like fucking pour jizz into her. And it's like fucking. I know people pulled out before the fucking 70s.
Yeah, it's true. It's very
Just
true.
Pepper the fucking bedspread with that shit.
Exactly. The movie she did with Jai Courtney is called The Exception, by the way.
Oh.
So
it's a sequel to The Rule.
yes, it is.